Ladies and gentlemen, here we are, Tornado Tag Podcast, episode 138, ECW One Night Stand.
ECW.
I thought somebody was going to go at the other one.
Oh my God!
Thank you.
Oh, Dios mío.
Yeah, that's going to be our main topic tonight, so stick around towards the second half of the show for that. We're going to start the show off with some news, some cool things that we went over the week, and just kind of beginning show banter that I like to steal from the Project Humanoid side of things. The Murder My Dude boys, a little show banter in the beginning. I didn't have a term for it for a while, and then I heard you guys say that. I'm like, I kind of dig that, the show banter.
Is that mine?
This one's good, or this one's yours.
Okay.
Or no, this one, sorry. So we have a lot of cool things to go over, talk about. But first, I want to say thank you to our Patreon subscribers. So we do have the Patreon giveaway that is going to be going from now to the end of February. Anyone who subscribes at all to the Patreon has access to win this. It is a can,
not just any spot.
It is a can. What?
It's a Yeti can holder.
No, what is it?
Colster.
Colster. I want to say it by its right name. I don't want heat over here. Right. So it's a can Colster.
I'll take the heat.
16 ounces. And we're gonna fill it full of stickers and cool things. And that is if you subscribe to any level of the Patreon, you're eligible for it. If you subscribe to the Patreon for $10 or more, you are eligible for a free T-shirt.
In honor of ECW One Night Stand, you should fill it full of Miller Lite because there was a lot of Miller Lite at the end of that
A
show.
lot of Miller Lite. So we want to thank
Steve Wise. What are you talking about?
Bridget Neiman-Reicher, Andrew Hare, Greg Reese, Heidi Blackwell, Ryan Galato from the Fueled by Hops podcast, Kelly from Crystal Mountain Healing and from the podcast, Tommy Borsrath, Tree of Life Metaphysical Shop, Brad Zalonis, Hireth in Other Words, and Jay Horror. Now, I will say this, you heard some names on there that are part of the network. They are not eligible for prizes. So just be full transparent disclosure to all of you. They can't win anything. So sorry, Kelly.
That's fine.
And we're just going to steal your money and you can't win anything.
You're not stealing anything. I'm giving it. It's good karma.
Yeah. That's a great way to put it. Good karma will come to you
Kelly,
if you donate
part
your money to help us
that
out.
has black hair.
Bizarro Kelly's going to rob the podcast.
Yeah.
Yes.
Ooh, that would be my shadow side.
Yeah.
Black hair, raven hair, black Kelly.
Dark
Yeah.
Kelly.
Well, let's talk about. I guess like our we had a good weekend.
Oh, yeah. It was a lot of fun. Wasn't
Yeah.
it?
So we were at
Well, you see, on
PPW.
Sunday, I watched football and the Eagles lost, but that was bad. But then it was good because the Dallas Cowboys lost and Steelers lost. So it was a good weekend.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. We did stuff on Saturday, too, didn't we?
Yes,
The
we
Eagles
did.
out now, right?
They are out. Yes.
Done.
Yeah. I mean, they were out for a while.
Yeah. They were playing with house money. It was okay.
That's kind of what the NFC East kind of just does. Like whoever shows up for the playoffs is just like, oh,
But
adorable.
the Bills won, right?
The Bills are
The
still
Bills
in
did
it.
win.
That's
Like,
my
oh
pick.
God.
That's my pick for the whole thing right now. I want them to win the whole thing. As a
Yeah.
wrestling fan, Andy, they light tables on fire in the parking lot and power bomb each other through
No.
them.
Yeah. The
Oh.
Bills are fun.
I like the ones that were throwing dildos. I heard about that on Howard Stern.
What?
Was
The
that
fans?
the Bills
Yeah,
game? No,
yeah.
it was at
Oh,
a
yeah.
Niners game. Like somebody threw a dildo
I
in the
thought
end
it
zone.
was
Yeah.
football.
No, it was.
It was football. Yeah.
Oh, I thought the Niners were a basketball team. So-
No, the Niners are a football team.
We'll get you there eventually. If you're in the live chat, say hi to us. Make sure if you are watching, hit that like and share button. Also check us out on YouTube if you're there, Twitter, Instagram, all those social medias. We do have a merch page if you want to go support it and check out the IWEP
I
network.
accidentally shared an episode from like 3 weeks ago.
Oh.
I'm fixing it now.
Really?
Mhm.
That's all right.
Sometimes
It was pinned to the top of the
yeah,
page.
yeah.
Oh, I gotta fix
You
that.
gotta scroll down. Yeah.
My bad.
Unpin it. Then.
So we were at PPW New Beginnings on
And at
Saturday.
Pocono Slam Fest
and the
as well.
Pocono Slam
Wait,
Fest.
is New Beginnings the next show?
That's
No,
the
New
show.
Beginnings was
That
the
was
show
one
that
of
just happened.
Oh,
just
for some reason,
passed.
I pictured the new logo with the neon saying New
Mhm.
Beginnings.
So it started off with the con, bright and early, 10 a.m. in the morning.
Mm.
Unfortunately, the people I were with did not show up right away. Neither did yours. So
Yeah, I mean, Maven was a total pro just for being there, period.
yes,
I'm going to put Maven over. He had some tough things happen that day.
well,
so
people were scheduled for different times. So
Yeah.
the con started at 10, but it's not like they just no showed.
Yeah.
yeah.
VSK actually got there. I was with VSK and Maven at that show. He actually got there early. It said 2:00. He was there by like 1.
Yeah.
That happens at cons a lot of times.
By the way,
People don't get there all when it
If
opens.
you can
next
guess,
month's PPW show, by the way, Reborn is the
Yes.
name of the February show.
if
God,
you
they
can
should
guess,
have Matt Seidel there.
yeah, if you can guess, we walk in the building
Uh-huh.
earlier than I wanted because I'm a psychopath. I made Brian get up
I know
early.
he told me.
I told him it was there too, so he already has the answer to
Oh,
this question.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we walk in the building a little before 9 o'clock,
Yeah.
so an hour before the con. We walk in the door, we turn the corner, First guy there, Bob
That
Backlund.
makes sense. Yeah.
Doesn't fuck around. Guy does not play any games. It was a little chilly in there.
It was
in the morning.
We
It
need to
was
get that
chilly.
heat situation fixed.
Yeah. And he was running around like a psycho, screaming at people bright and early in the morning. It was a
He's
pleasure.
probably been up since 4.
It was such a cool experience.
Yeah. How old was he? In the 70s?
He is
So
72 years old.
72.
He got to think he's on that old people time.
Yeah.
Probably that they wake up at like 5 or 4.
Oh, he's
in the
been up for 6
morning.
hours already.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he was in bed long before the show started.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
8 o'clock.
It was unbelievable. He was super cool.
He did a headstand in the
He
ring.
did a headstand. I was like, is he gonna run the ropes? He didn't run the ropes. And he just did a headstand. And he's like, and then he like explained how he didn't do the headstand like he wanted to, and he's just like, thank you, and just got out. And I was like, that's Bob Backlund.
He's a strange
It was talking to us about wrestling Dusty Rhodes in Japan.
Wow. I did pull him aside, and I was like, hey, I just want to ask, like when I meet legends like yourself, I always ask them, what is your favorite match you've ever wrestled?
Yeah.
And he said, I don't have a favorite because I put everything I had, my heart, my soul, my dedication. He gave the whole like eat your vitamins things into every single match I did. Like I tried to put, if I was wrestling somebody who no one ever knew, or I was wrestling main event in the card, I tried to put the same energy into every single match.
You should have really, really tried harder against Diesel. You could have maybe lasted 25 seconds instead of 8.
And I said, you know what, man, it shows. Like you can see your passion in every single time you step in the ring. Like you love to do it. You love doing what you do. And
so just an addendum, because I was reading this on Twitter this week, an addendum to what we were talking about with Bob Backlund last week, where I guess what Vince McMahon Sr., Vincent J. McMahon wanted when he was Bruno was just like, I'm done. You need to get a new champion now. And they built up Bob Backlund through Billy Graham. And he wanted a Jack Briscoe type. He wanted somebody like Jack Briscoe to be his champion, but Jack Briscoe wouldn't do it. And so he asked Sam Mushnick, who was the promoter in St. Louis, one of the most respected men in wrestling, longtime president of the NWA. Sam Mushnick said Bob Backlund. And Eddie Graham was another very, very respected guy around the Florida territory. And he said either Bob Backlund or Steve Kern. So 2 people said Backlund. Backlund was his guy.
there you go. So just, and honestly, this is something that I can even attest to on a much, much smaller scale. But when people ask you like podcasts, or people ask you who you like, or in any business or any industry, like you walk into a building and someone's like, well, how did you get in? I'm like, I'm not sure. And then you find out later on, it's because 2 people just spoke really highly of you. So we booked you.
Yeah.
You can help someone change their life that way.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I wouldn't be a wrestling commentator if someone didn't say Tony Blackwell.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that means a lot. And obviously for Bob Backlund, it made him a world champion at one point in time. So speaking nicely of people is important.
Yeah.
And just with Pocono Slam Fest, it's going to be very easy to speak nicely, people, because just good experiences all around on that show with everybody.
Yeah, it was. I thought I was going to have a lot stronger imposter syndrome throughout the show and have like high anxiety.
Mine was off the charts all day.
I felt super comfortable. Like I felt like everyone made me
Yeah.
very comfortable.
Because I've never heard of that until you said it before. Explain to it for people.
Oh, so imposter syndrome is where you feel like you don't belong, or you feel like you're out of place.
Yeah, like what am I doing here? I don't deserve to be here.
Yeah, like why am I here talking to this person who has accomplished so much, and I am a piece of trash? Is essentially what goes through in your brain, and it causes high anxiety and you can have a panic attack.
And that was in my head, but then just everybody that to a person, they were all so welcoming and so like friendly and kind and nice. It did really cut down on it.
It did. I almost forgot for a while what I was like, who I was talking to at some point in time, because I just felt like everybody in the room was the same. And I mean, and at the end of the day, that's kind of how they want to be treated as well.
Yeah.
Before the people I was with showed up, I was just kind of chilling with Mercedes Martinez.
Yeah.
Who, I mean, you could hear on the podcast, I've been gushing about her since the start of the podcast.
Her new shirt's out on it.
Her brand new t-shirt is out, and I got to talk to her, and just being such a huge mark, I don't care, I'll use the term, and a fan. It was dope, man. And like she left and she came over and gave me a hug, and I was like, and like she could have just walked out the door.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
and you were very busy to the point when the people you were running the table for showed up.
yes.
And at that point, my 2 people hadn't shown up yet. So Mercedes comes over, like, "Hey, you're doing a great job." Like, just cut up because like I'm just standing there like, "Yeah, Tony's very busy right now," and I'm just like, "Hi."
Yeah, because my line kind of wrapped around your table.
Yeah, it was in front of my table. Yeah, and then later Kurt Angle's line was in front of my table.
Yeah. So I got to sit with Mike and Maria Canales, Mike Bennett, Maria Canales.
There you
Sorry,
go.
I'm getting the
Mike
WWE
Bennett,
thing.
Maria Canales Bennett.
Maria Canales Bennett, and
Miracle Mike Bennett.
holy fuck, are they the coolest people on the planet?
Absolutely.
Such good feedback on how to handle things in the business and how to go about things. And a lot of just life advice, man. Like a fan, I'm not gonna say like too much, but a fan came up and he's trying to go through a weight loss journey, and he went through it and then had a hard time keeping it off. And he went up to Mike, and I guess he unzipped his shirt, and he had like the Mike Bennett shirt, and there was like the way he presented it was funny, and people came from like all over the place that have met them before just because they wanted to meet them again because that's how cool they are. And he said, hey, I want to make a goal, I want to lose weight, and Mike's like, you make the goal, you make your number, tell me what you can do. And he said, if I lose the weight, the deal I want to make with you is if I lose it, can you send me a shirt in my new size of this one so I can wear it. And he says, if you hit your goal and your number and you keep me updated on Twitter, I won't just send you that shirt, I'll send you every t-shirt I have. So like, what a fucking cool dude, man. Like, I don't know, I'm a super fan. I'm dead serious, a super fan of both of them.
I'm kind of there too. And even just from a professional standpoint, not just working with fans, but from a professional standpoint, the other thing I do helping out with PPW when there's not a convention is I don't get to see a lot of the show. I'm usually backstage, even though it's side stage because it's on the side, with Tom Mitchell, with Coach Ileana, and we are filming the promos that go in the PPW High Voltage and get interspersed throughout the Fight TV show. Like, spoiler alert, in this upcoming show, when Fox Vineyard's yelling at the camera guy, that's me. And that no good Fox Vineyard. We'll get to that later.
Man, what a dirtball.
And some people are easier to wrangle than others because part of our job is going, hey, can we get you for a promo in a little bit? I'm not just talking about people who have been on TV that have come in to do PPW. I'm talking about them, local wrestlers, anybody we get, referees, announcers, people who aren't even in the ring. I don't think anybody has been easier to work with in that position than Mike and Maria were.
Yeah.
And not only that, but check out High Voltage, check out that show on Fight because, oh boy, did they deliver at the promo too. I'm not going to name names. One of the people involved with the management of PPW was in the room while we were filming that and just goes, I think that's the best promo we've done here.
Yeah. They're definitely on the slate to come back as soon as possible.
And they are an Impact. They signed with Impact.
Yeah.
One of the VSK, there were a few Doc Gallows.
One of the coolest things that really, really impressed me with Maria and Mike is their knowledge of the independent wrestling scene. I don't know how much is out there, but she had a very large hand in booking ROH's women's division and that tournament that was happening before the end of the company, before they took that break or hiatus. And hearing what they were accomplishing in ROH and what she was doing and the things that they were looking for on a different spectrum of bringing into like how we were everyone saying like, oh man, what if I get picked up by AEW? That was going to be, that was what ROH's plan was going to be. Is start bringing these people in to almost be like building those new stars from the independent, giving them a shot. Like ROH was going to get back to those roots. And Maria just rattling off some of the women that she was researching and studying are people we worked with, like with Camp Leapfrog and High Tension. And I was like, I was blown away. I was like, you're someone who's made it into Japan, to WCW, like, WWE and that big time. And you still take time out to research the indies because you were passionate about building a women's division. Yeah. It was so cool to hear her talk about it and saying like people's names that I was like, I totally agree.
Yeah. People who might just know her because she was a model or she played a ditzy character for so much.
She's smart as fuck.
Yeah. That character is not Maria. Just because she said the Edge instead of Edge one time 20 years ago does not mean she doesn't know what she's doing. She certainly does.
It probably was on purpose.
I don't know. Even if it wasn't.
Yeah.
Like even if it wasn't, but that character was great. That character was a lot of fun. But then if you look at what she did in New Japan and Impact Ring of Honor, was completely different.
And Mike is also on NWA now.
Yeah.
Mike he was. Yeah,
OGK. Him and Matt Taylor.
Yeah. Mike got a raw deal in WWE.
Yeah, absolutely. And for how bad he was treated, he doesn't. I mean, obviously he looks at it negatively, but he doesn't let it dwell on himself anymore. You know what I mean? Like he had his demons. He went through them. He was doing everything he possibly can. And the thing was he's seen himself as more as just a hand. He's seen himself as somebody who
he didn't see it. Vince did.
Well, he's seen himself as more than what the company see him for. And he's like, I don't want to be here. I could have sat here and collect a check and have the best money in my life, but I want to do this business, and I respect that. Chase your dream, man. Sometimes you can get stagnant and complacent just getting that check every week.
Well, that's what some people are like. Well, wouldn't you want to sit there and get paid to be nothing? Well, yeah, but I'd also like to maybe wrestle.
Yeah.
I would also like to do what I love,
So
Not just sit here and collect a check.
Like idiots on the line think, well, they're getting paid. Yeah, but they're not doing what they want to do.
yeah,
No,
so
see, I look at that and I feel bad. Like, especially with the new stuff with Finn Balor coming out. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
man.
And,
Dude,
and
and-
Mustafa Ali, which we'll talk about.
Yeah.
one of the things I did ask them, and I'm not giving away anything personal. Like this is not something I do. Is like I have conversation and try to bring it on here, but I think it is important for fans to hear. Is when someone's booked as a gimmick on TV, and then they do it 10 years later, and especially if it's a gimmick that you kind of know wasn't their favorite,
Yeah.
and realize it is a gimmick, don't walk up to them and just kind of disrespect the dude in front of his wife. You know what I mean?
Bring
Like,
it up, yeah.
no, not just that. Like people are just like, it wasn't done super bad in front of me at this show, but I can imagine how bad it could be with some wrestling fans where they're like, oh, she's fucking hot, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
A lot of people,
and he
it's real
just
to
and
them,
he just
you know?
smiles and waves like, thank
Yeah.
you, man. I'm very fortunate to have a very beautiful wife. But
Yeah.
it's like, relax a little bit. Just calm down.
That's
Also, let's
be a little
But let's be
respect.
honest. Mike Bennett isn't an ugly dude. Either.
Oh no, he's
Yeah.
he's a handsome
and
man.
it's in great shape.
Yeah.
Great looking. But the Casey Navarro has had some wars at PPW in the last couple months, and if you haven't seen it, if you weren't there live, go to Fight TV when it comes out.
The shows are what, $9.99 on Fight? I think?
$9.99.
Worth the price of admission alone. That show.
That show was
and the promo
fantastic,
before it.
and check it out because they killed it. They might have stole the show. I'm serious. They tore it up.
Should if you're in the main event.
Yeah, they
you know?
tore it up. I mean,
They
Casey Navarro
delivered,
has
yeah.
doing main event matches almost every show and kind of stealing
Mhm.
the show, and now he gets that main event title spot where a main event showcase that he deserves.
And credit to Maria too, because at the very end, her and Tasha Steeles run to the back. And if you've ever been to the PPW shows in Broadheadsville, they have kind of uneven turf that the ring is situated.
I'm still
on.
picking out of my shoes.
I
And
hate that black stuff that's in there.
and
Black
Maria
beads.
ran full speed on that in heels and was just fine.
She's a gangster. She's a goddamn gangster.
That is
while-
that is some talent to be able to run in heels. And how big were they? Like,
They're a
fairly
nice size.
big, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is for it. They're like
I mean,
boots.
yeah,
but still.
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
there's we on our site we threw out a picture of that I took with him, and Maria looks almost as tall as me there, and she's probably like naturally I would guess probably like 2 or 3 inches shorter than me.
Yeah.
I would think.
Ryan Vox in the chat. Normally, he listens to the audio later,
Yeah.
so we just lost an
Oh,
audio
right,
view.
yeah.
While we're talking about
Get
Ryan
in live.
Vox,
Yeah, but we're happy to have you in the chat there, Ryan.
Yeah. Thank you for
Wow.
coming.
while we're talking about Ryan Vox, we should bring up March 5th.
We're taking a road trip.
Yes, I'm going home. I'm going home on March 5th. Well, passing through home.
You're
to get to
passing
South
through
Jersey.
home. Yeah.
Passing through home to get to South Jersey for the night the bridge was crossed. Outbreak Wrestling in New Jersey, Saturday, March 5th at the world famous Monster Factory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Someone's gonna
We-
throw the title down and make it all.
We will
kiss
we will
my ass.
we will give a spoiler right now
Mhm.
before the week of that show.
Mhm.
You will have the history of the Monster Factory on this podcast.
And that is a lot of history. That is a lot of history.
It's a cool looking building. Like when they
Yeah.
do their shows there, I forget what I think their Fed is just called Monster
I
Factory.
don't know if they
Monster
have work
Factory
for us.
Wrestling.
I know they're a busy company, have a lot of moving parts. If there's a seat open on commentary, if you need someone just to hold a chair, if anything, we'll come work. If not, we're still buying a ticket. We're gonna be there to support Outbreak Wrestling. We love what they do, and it's gonna be fun to see them branch out to a new audience and a new demographic in Jersey.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah,
State.
it'll be a lot of fun.
First time in Jersey. First time
Yeah.
in a different state, I believe.
Look at them getting the big
I
venues,
know,
going from the
fun.
Hamburg Fieldhouse to the Monster Factory,
Yeah, big
next to
time.
Hammerstein Ballroom,
Oh my ECW Arena.
ECW Arena.
Just a little lower. A little more lower and a little more maybe in grass.
Yeah.
And cheaper.
Jeff in the chat, he says shotgun. He's going with us, so that's good. We have a car full already. It's gonna be So, and then another great person at the show, Doc Gallows.
Oh yeah, he was very
Holy
nice.
shit, was he cool! I got to see him backstage, like he was like watching and critiquing the show.
Running the
Seeing
seminar.
him do the
Mhm.
seminar was really cool. Someone who I kind of got to pick his brain during the seminar, and he was really giving me a lot of insight on how seminars work and things you do and things
Mhm.
you don't do and why they do certain things during a seminar. Mike Orlando, someone I critiqued a little, like had some critiques, or I had an opinion about him. Nothing super negative, but the dude's in a different mind state now. He sees himself in a different light. He, after going through 2 knee surgeries and didn't think he was going to do this anymore, just recently got married, so congratulations. And the matches he has been recently having at PPW have been fantastic.
Good.
So yeah, man, thank you, Mike, for like kind of let me pick your ear and be that annoying fan who was asking questions. But I had a great conversation with him, and it was really cool. But yeah, Doc killed it.
And another guy, Mike Orlando, month in, month out, wrangling for the promos, one of the easiest people to deal with.
Yeah. Allie got to do some work her first time without the brace on. She did a good. I guess
she said when she's come back. I forget when it was.
It's a time frame. Hopefully,
not that long.
Hopefully by the end of the year.
Okay,
I should mention
4
as far
months
as
or something. Like that.
I should mention as far as stuff during the show. I saw most of the Casey Mike Bennett match, and I saw like 2 minutes of Andy's match, and that was all I saw.
Yeah. VSK Maven, super cool.
VSK and Maven, wonderful people to spend an afternoon with. Very, very, very cool to their fans. VSK has.
I was proud of you, by the way.
Oh, really?
Yes, because normally you're very reserved, and I'm gonna sound like your podcast here, but it takes you a little bit to come out of your shell and stuff. I walked like. Brian's like, come here. And he's like, I walked up to Maven and say, like, oh, you're the wrestler, the Washington fan. Like, I already had a full introduction before I walked up to the table. Like,
I did make one faux pas that I try not to do at PVW. I yelled Tony, and he and Tony McKeegan are standing right next to each other, and they both turn around. But it's a Blackwell. Get over.
Yeah, so it was really you really handed up with them, man. You made a good impression. They really liked you.
That was fun. Yeah,
you did a great job.
It was very fun.
Maven's dope.
Maven is
so is VSK.
I never met Maven.
Yeah, so cool.
I've heard other people that have done stuff with Maven and good things to say about him. I am one of them. The attention he paid to his fans, as much time as they wanted to talk, as long as there wasn't too deep of a line, he would spend time with us. So like, okay, we gotta. You can talk to him after this. Other person gets their picture and their autograph. But no, he was excellent. VSK was so cool. His fans there, like we were just a great sense of humor. His stickers are awesome. His one sticker is a parody of the old original TNA Total Nonstop Action logo, like the dark red.
Yeah.
And it says VSK.
Before that one, like the big blocky gold letters and then like the red bar.
Okay, yeah, the NWA
the
TNA
original
one.
NWA TNA.
Wow.
His other one is a takeoff, Kelly. This will be more for you, of the that New York Islanders logo with the fisherman looking guy.
Yeah.
He has one like that.
That was an old school Islanders.
Yeah.
It's not the NY with the
no,
it's the actual fisherman.
Yeah.
Other people there, Sandman, Rich Holiday.
Yeah,
we'll get to Jimmy Hart. We have another Jimmy Hart. We Alexander Hammerstone. He was super cool.
Yeah, Richard Holiday.
Well,
was he a nice guy?
Yeah,
he kind of comes off as, but I don't know if that's his character.
He doesn't really talk. Well,
I didn't say anything.
Him, Holiday, and their other former member of their stable, MJF, kind of all have the same thing where they buy into their character.
Yeah.
It's very hard for them to break.
Yeah.
They're going to stay how they are. He comes off as menacing and intimidating, and he sticks to it.
By the way, you want to put over wrestling schools, Create a Pro.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. The talent coming out of there, that's Brian Myers, formerly Kurt Hawkins, his school. And VSK was really, really, really illustrating how good of a teacher Brian Myers is. MJF comes from that school. Chris Statlander comes from that school. They're pumping out talent there.
Yeah.
So if you're in that New York area, I think it's like, I don't know if it's Long Island or upstate New York, somewhere in not New York City, but around New York City, Create a Pro. Create a Pro. You can't go wrong.
There was some kids in the gym. Adam says Maven's a good time. So does Ryan Vox agrees. Maven is awesome. I totally agree.
I think Maven's doing another show around here soon.
Go to it. Go see him.
He's just doing the meet and greet. He's kind of, like he said, he's leaving the wrestling to the younger talented guys like VSK. And that was another thing that was so cool. Every person that came up to Maven made it a point to put over how good VSK was.
Yeah, I love that.
Made it a point.
So there were some kids in the gym working out and screaming while they were working out.
Oh yeah, the guy in the I know.
And I'm standing there, and everyone, like the wrestlers, are all kind of just like watching, like, what the fuck?
Yeah, there's like three kids. Yeah.
Like,
I walk by and they go, bro, watch how much weight he's gonna lift. I'm like, I don't give a shit.
Yeah. So and they were making it a big deal to like kind of show off to the wrestlers, but the wrestlers were kind of all laughing at them.
There's gonna be guys that go over there and fucking do 10 of that. And
we could have sent Adina Steele over, and she would have fucking did more with those kids.
Been great if Christina would have been there.
Yeah. I told Adina, I was like, just go over and take the bar off.
Yeah.
Just be like,
yeah,
shut the fuck up. And she's like, I kind of want to.
How old were these kids?
High schoolers.
Yeah, 16.
Yeah.
Just screaming and throwing the weights down.
Yeah, screaming, throwing the weight. Like at one point, like the two other guys were like holding it, and they were doing like, it looked like they were trying to do
for anyone who doesn't, they were
CrossFit,
doing, a clean and press. You take the bar and you pick it up like this to your chest and then go up.
Needless
right?
to say,
Okay.
the Signature Training Academy does not have a lunk alarm. It would have been going on.
Yeah. So Hammerstein comes walking out of the bathroom.
Hammerstone.
Hammerstone comes
Yeah.
walking out of the bathroom and hears the screaming
Oh my
and
God.
just looks over,
can
and I'm
imagine
standing
him.
right to his left, and I just seen his face, and he just goes and just walk, and I fought, like I
Now,
laughed.
it would have been funny if he went over and
Yeah.
done something
I know,
because
yeah.
that's his
So I kinda-
character.
I walk, and he was standing
Yeah.
like ringside, so I kind of walked up and go, "How ridiculous is that?" He goes, "I thought they were fucking joking."
So did I. I was preoccupied. I was on the other side of the gym doing other things.
Yeah.
But we're what the hell is going on?
Santana Garrett and Deanna Prazo were absolute sweethearts as
didn't-
well.
I didn't see Santana at all, but Deanna
either.
was.
Yeah,
I seen him
Deanna
for like a
was-
split second. And I was like, I want to watch that match, and it was over. I was like, oh, I didn't.
yeah.
Deanna was super cool to deal with. Although one thing I would say to Deanna, even though she's not going to listen to this, it's pork roll. It's not Taylor Ham. It's pork roll.
Maria Kanellis, says that she's the best in the world. That was
Yeah,
her
really?
pick.
Wow.
That she said she's really talented and has a lot. In
Having
front
a
of her.
great year. Impact champion, formerly now the AAA champion, the Ring of Honor Women's champion.
No, she lost it.
She lost to Ring of Honor. Title?
Yeah, she lost it to that girl that has the weird name.
Roxy.
Roxy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Roxy.
Yeah,
okay.
Roxy won it.
I know I thought she just beat Roxy for it.
Oh, is it? Was that their way?
Yeah,
No,
I-
she just lost the Impact to Mickey
She
James.
lost the Impact to Mickey James. I think she
She
because we
just-
actually
she just-
spoiled it. Impact runs while we're doing the show, and I think while we were doing the show last week was when they aired the taping where Deanna
Oh,
beat
okay.
Roxy for
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
And then the last but not least was the Mouth of the South. Jimmy Hart was in
Yes,
attendance.
he was.
Also, Kurt Angle. We had a very
Also,
brief.
Kurt Angle.
We had a
Oh,
brief
yeah,
thing.
Kurt
We
Angle.
had a brief
Special
thing.
mention Kurt Angle.
We had a brief thing with Kurt Angle and the Sandman. It wasn't like.
Yeah, you didn't
I mean,
get
I'm not saying that they weren't cool, but we
you
just
get to
didn't.
talk to him.
We didn't have a big memorable thing like we did with the rest of the guys. Kurt was awesome,
And that was where I put my foot in my mouth. Hey, remember when your friend died?
yeah.
That was my.
Yeah, that
No,
happened.
that's how I put it. I was a little more tactful than that.
He said, I do a true crime murder podcast called Murder My Dude, and I did an episode on Fox thing, and he was just like, cool, yeah, I lost some friends there.
He didn't say that.
He didn't, but he was already kind of like,
It was the end of the day, and it was.
it didn't seem like he was done. He was done for the day. It was cold.
No, it was because I had always heard that he it's in the archives for Murder My Dude, Foxcatcher My Dude.
Number one listen episode.
It is the most listened to
Oh,
Murder My
wow.
Dude episode. Yeah, and it was about this guy Dave Schultz, not Dr. D, not the Flyer, the wrestler Dave Schultz, an Olympian who was Kurt Angle's mentor. He
Mhm.
was the guy who really helped Kurt Angle when he was coming up training for the Olympics. And there was this big wrestling farm. They did a wrestling camp at Foxcatcher. It was the Team Foxcatcher, and it was John DuPont, the heir to the DuPont family fortune, was really in the wrestling, and he set this big camp there. And he wasn't all there. He had some mental illness, and he wound up shooting Dave Schultz. And he did it the day before Kurt Angle was supposed to come there to train.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like I thought
Yeah.
it was a little bit before I asked him about it. He's like, I was supposed to be there the next day.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, so I'm in the gym at the factory at the wrestling academy, and
You're at the juice bar.
and
You're not-
I'm
you're
at the juice bar, and I look over and I see someone watching TV.
Oh,
So
God.
I said, you know what? This is where you make a story. This is where you make a memory, and this is where you tell somebody a story, and they don't believe you.
Mhm.
So I walked over and I watched about a quarter of the Bengals Raiders game with Jimmy Hart and talked football. So then I said, I have to go get ready for the show, Jimmy. I'll talk to you a little later. And I walk away. As we're crossing each other's paths, I see Brian. I'm like, what are you doing? He goes, nothing. I'm just killing time before to the next show, till the show starts. And I said, go grab a chair and go sit right over there and watch football with Jimmy Hart. And he just
Yeah.
goes, that's what I'm going to do. And
And that's what I did for about an hour and a half. Yeah.
so it was one of those things where it's like, you see an opportunity like that, you don't have to talk to him. Just say, I watch football.
we didn't talk about, like, I wasn't trying to like distract him.
Yeah, get secrets of the business.
Yeah, no, we talked about the game. Like, that was a great play. Oh, they should have did this. They should. It would be cool if this happened. It was funny because I brought up the Eagles. Like, he's a Bucks fan, so good luck to the Bucks for Jimmy Hart.
Yeah.
I didn't know there was a team called the Bucks.
The Tampa Bay
Buccaneers.
Buccaneers.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
They call
They are
him
the
Bucks.
reigning Super Bowl champions.
Oh,
Yes.
wow, how about
the
that?
new team of Tom Brady,
Yes.
right?
Jimmy
Yeah.
Hart, big young Bucks fan.
Yes. He's a huge Young Bucks fan.
And but Jimmy Hart, just such a nice guy. In fact, one of the wrestlers came over, like, I don't even like football, but I gotta say hi to the nice guy on the wrong game, Jimmy Hart, a big hug.
Yeah.
And so another person that came over there, and this is that story that nobody would believe. One of the people who works concessions over there asks Jim if he wants anything, and me and another guy were just watching the game with him. He's like, he wanted a Sprite, and he was like, I'll get some for them too. And so yeah, Jimmy Hart bought me a soda.
Your dear friend Jimmy Hart,
My close personal friend Jimmy Hart.
bought him a. He comes
on each other's Christmas card list.
Brian comes over
Yeah.
with holding his Diet Pepsi. And he goes,
It's like, I'm gonna take this
And he
Pepsi
goes-
can home and put
he
it
goes,
on my shelf.
guess who bought me this?
I should have taken the can away.
Yeah, he goes, guess who bought me this? And I go, Jimmy Hart. And
No,
he goes,
just ask me how
Oh,
I
yeah.
got the soda.
ask me how I got this soda. I go, Jimmy Hart. And he goes, Jimmy Hart bought me a fucking soda.
Jimmy Hart signs it.
One of those things you're going to tell somebody, they're
Yeah.
like, who cares? I'm
Yeah.
like, I fucking
I
care.
care. Yeah.
Exactly. Professional wrestling. This is what happens when you give a bunch of marks to do a, well, besides you, give a bunch of marks to do a podcast, fucking cool opportunities. We're going to gush over them. And thank you for wrestling promoters for giving these opportunities, because goddamn, we don't deserve them. And the fact that like fans come up and talk to us and everything, it's so fucking dope. We're on our year 4. Who would have thought?
Yeah.
Who would have thought we'd be watching football with Jimmy Hart?
During the commercials, I just try to like say my hellos to everybody, and I just walk by Bro Keller, and I'm like, hey, and then we just shake hands, say what's up. I'm like, yeah, I'm just watching, you know how it goes. I'm just watching football with Jimmy Hart. And he's like, that's some bucket list stuff right there.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, man. So this is the things we don't take for granted here, because we could have just been sitting here for 4 years talking professional wrestling, and
Yeah.
we're calling matches, we're doing backstage stuff. What a fucking crazy year and a half it's been, and this is just the beginning. And thank you, PPW, and everybody else who have taken us on this crazy
totally,
fucking
yeah.
ride. There's more to come, man. Trust me. There's a lot of cool things coming down the pipeline, and we're excited for you guys to experience it with us. But let's get into current event news. What do we got, Brian?
Well, you did have the big thing now recently was Mustafa Ali asking for his release
And being denied.
and
And being
like,
denied.
nah, we're good.
Yeah, because apparently budgets don't need to be cut this week.
No, not yet. Someone needs
2 weeks ago, they really need to be cut, but right now the budget's all right.
Someone needs a job for a couple months
That-
before we
yeah.
let him go.
Just to really quickly run through some stuff in the chat here. Jeff, missing tonight, but still with us, still hanging out. Was that Larry Sharp years ago at the Monster Factory?
Mhm.
Yes,
Yeah.
he did retire, I believe, in 2008. Danny Cage runs the Monster Factory now. I think Blue Meanie helps out there. Bill Wiles,
Love
I want
it.
to say,
Love
from
the Blue Meanie.
ECW.
Ricky was there. Ricky Reyes was there. But
Yeah,
moved.
QT Marshall, I believe, helped out training there for a while. And just everybody talking about how great Maven is. And that is true. Maven
Yeah.
was a pleasure to be around. And not a pleasure to be around. Also in the chat, Sam is saying John DuPont was a fucking nightmare. Yes, he was.
Yes, he
Again,
was.
Yeah.
Foxcatcher, my dude, the most listened to.
Check it out, Murder My Dude.
Yeah.
Put it on all audio sources for podcasts and go listen to it. Brian does a fantastic job.
So yeah, other big news this week was
The return
The return.
of John
Yes.
We got some.
Moxley.
By the way, I hate how Justin Roberts says John.
Really?
Say it. I hate it.
Yeah,
I love it.
hated it with John Cena, and I hated it
Yeah.
with John Moxley.
Yeah, I don't like it either.
I like it.
He's a little too hammy sometimes.
Yeah.
Yes, he's a little too hammy most of the time.
Yeah. But he comes back. He looked great.
Yeah, he did.
Did you hear what the fans said to him?
No, what did he say? Because
The
I
fans
didn't
said-
get it either until you guys said it in
What
the
he called him a
chat.
drunk or something?
The-
Yeah.
the-
Get that drunk out of the
Get
ring.
that
or something
fucking
like
drunk out of the ring or
ring.
something like that. And
And
John
he's like, get
F-bomb
him the fuck out of here.
on live TV.
Yeah.
The F-bomb came
He
through.
said-
I
he
love
said
how-
shit a couple times.
I
Yeah.
love how you get that
Well,
like.
that wasn't
and
the only
literally-
F-bomb of the night either.
No.
Literally 5 minutes before that, you have the Big Bang Theory on that channel.
Yeah.
It's great.
Oh my
Which
God, I
is
cringed.
awful.
I cringed. Yeah, I cringed at that one
Well-
with Sheldon.
Well, that's okay though, because sometimes those curses slip out during football games, and one of the ones we can very audibly hear a football player drop an F-bomb was the game that happened to be simulcast on Nickelodeon.
Oh boy.
They do one playoff game a year where it's on Nickelodeon. The announcers are trying to explain how football works, and they have like slime go off in the end zone,
Yeah.
like CGI.
Mhm.
And yeah, it's one where the tight end of the 49ers just drops an F-bomb after he gets in
Beautiful.
a play.
Let's get with the times.
They're
It's
adults.
just like
It's
It's
fun.
adults. Well, you know
We're
what
the
my
only
dad,
country who does that.
I know.
Well,
Nobody else cares.
Children can't.
you know what my dad brought up to me today? He said there was no like monitoring system in the corner of the TV last night. He noticed like usually it says PG or whatever.
Oh.
What is
Ah.
that? The rating
Yeah,
system?
the rating
Yeah.
system.
TV rating, yeah.
He said there wasn't there. Not that he's seen
It-
it, at
you
least,
know-
and I never noticed it. So
Every kid heard the word. Every kid knows the word.
And the more you tell kids they can't say, they're like,
yeah.
so
As
their
Bob
parents.
Back will say, "You swear in
Yeah.
front of your children."
Yes.
If you hear it, you're not gonna immediately become a delinquent.
If you have
Yeah.
children,
Steal
if you're not in the
At
room,
least
they're saying they're cursing.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. What did Danhausen tweet? I guess it's okay to curse now on TV or something. It was Danhausen.
Well, his thing is he doesn't want you to curse if he's involved because then it can't go on TV and then Danhausen can't make the monies. Yeah. Hi, Heidi. Are you drinking hopaloni juice?
No, that's
No, she has her pink can. She's dumping out.
John Moxley looked 10 years younger.
He does. He looks great.
He's back to looking.
Yeah, because I remember I said in the one chat one time, like, man, he looks fat.
He's like a pumpkin
heavy.
head.
Yeah, I was like, must be eating a lot.
That was
It's
no,
booze.
it's alcohol.
It's the booze.
I didn't know.
The booze can make you look red like that too.
Yeah, because he wasn't really fat in the stomach, but he just looked like he was kind of like
puffy. Yeah, he carries the weight. You can when you drink as much as like that, you can carry it in your face. You can carry it all over, but you look beat red like that.
Yeah, that's terrible.
Yeah.
Good thing he's out. He's clean.
Good.
Yeah, he did look. He looked like when he first came to WWE.
Yeah, it looks good.
What
else?
champion.
Any other news? This was kind of a light news week. I mean, the whole thing with Cody being a free agent, I think we dropped one over that last week. It seems kind of like, I'm a free agent. Wink.
Yeah,
wink, wink,
I'm
wink.
a real free agent.
Most people seem to think it's something they're doing for that Roads to the Top show. Like it's going to be a whole thing.
No,
about
he's
his
showing up at the
contract.
Rumble, right?
Oh yeah, there was idiots that thought that. People thought Moxley's going to interfere in Roman.
Oh,
Percept.
a very big note.
Yeah.
Veer Mahan once again coming to Raw.
Yeah,
that is a huge
Still-
thing.
It's on the way.
Oh, he's coming soon.
Yeah, there's some more news.
What's that?
There's a new wrestler debuted on NXT, Gunther.
Gunther.
Never seen him before.
Oh, he looked really impressive.
Yeah, never seen him before. in my
It's
life.
weird because he started the match as a different name
Yeah.
Yeah, then
and then ended with another.
How bad does your name have to be like, you know what's a better name? Walter.
yeah,
This is so much worse than calling somebody Walter.
Yeah.
That's how bad Gunther is.
it's bad.
And
It's
I
really
guess after they kind of leaked what his name was going to
yeah,
be,
Gunther Stark.
WWE did some Google researching and
the
realized,
internet did some Google research.
and then realized, oh, this is not smart.
Yeah,
And
but
they
you would
just-
think like anytime you're gonna come up with a name for a band or a wrestler or anything, you would let's see if
You
it
should-
exists.
yeah.
Maybe there's somebody that's using.
Well, maybe
this
we
already.
can tag team Gunther and Ziggler together.
Yeah,
And
they
really,
could be the
really go
Nazis.
for the 1-2
They
punch.
they can be the SS,
Yeah,
the burning SS or something.
they could be superstars.
Yeah, super. There you go.
Yeah.
Like why?
WWE,
Why? No
baby.
one sits down and goes, "Hey, let's Google that." Nah.
this is
Because now they realize that he wants to come to the States.
Yeah.
They realize that he is willing to work here. They probably have him in a spot where it's like, okay, we have him locked down. He's not going to make a dime off anything he's ever done. We're going to repackage him and we're going to own every single
Yeah. So
cent
that way
of
when
what
he
does.
leaves, he can't.
Exactly.
Intellectual property.
That's going to be the new WWE move. If they can't own you,
But they weren't doing that before,
yeah. But I
like
mean,
with Finn
they're
Balor.
really going to go hard with it.
and they kind of let go with it when like
Mhm.
a couple people came. I can't think of it offhand, but yeah.
Finn, guys like Finn have no like he's done.
Well, he's done.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's more.
Oh,
than
yeah,
the,
they
more
said
than the news.
He
But
lost
they're not
to
gonna let-
Austin Theory, and then they're saying nothing for him creatively.
Yeah, Vince said he doesn't see anything in Finn Balor.
Yeah.
anymore.
No.
Imagine.
Well, he doesn't see
He
anything because
never-
he
he
can't
never
cash in
right.
on Finn Balor.
yeah, but
And
imagine.
he never had faith in him to begin with. So.
Yeah, because he's small.
Under 6 and now 40.
Yeah, so
Yep.
I mean, yeah, he can't possibly have a good match.
Yeah,
Is that
I
how old
think-
he is now?
He is 40
40.
years old.
I think the only guy you're going to
Still looks
see.
good for
Yeah, he
40.
looks great for 40.
Yeah,
he
he
looks amazing
does.
for
And
40.
he's a great wrestler. You can't say he's not marketable. The Demon. Jesus
Yeah.
Christ.
The only guy you're going to really see in
He's in
WWE
wonderful shape.
who is going to own himself intellectually that they're not going to mess
Well,
with
nobody really.
is AJ Styles.
Yeah, well, they can't. Yeah, because they
Yeah.
can't copyright.
Everybody else, if they're going to change you if they can.
Sunday, GCW, the world on GCW, and they have a hell of a card here so far. You have I'm trying to find the exact breakdown of some of these matches, but you have the main event is John Moxley defending the GCW world title against Homicide, indie wrestling legend Homicide. Joey Janela against Matt Cardona with Chelsea Green. Chelsea Green will be at PPW next month.
Along with Killer Cross.
Yes.
Well, I don't know what he's going by now.
Killer
Cross.
Cross.
Killer
yep.
Cross.
Killer Cross.
Yep. And also with our close personal friend, Earl
Dear
Hebner.
friend. Yeah, dear friend
yeah.
Earl Hebner.
Dear friend Earl Hebner. One of the people in one of the matches I'm trying to find the full
I didn't
card
see
here.
a
I thought I
full
had-
card. I only seen a couple matches.
one of the things I know they are doing is a ladder match, a grab the brass ring ladder match.
Ooh.
And within that match, I believe one of the people involved is going to be Jordan Oliver, who will also be at PPW
Mhm.
coming up. You also have Effie against Jeff Jarrett. That will be at the Hammerstein Ballroom this weekend. Ali Ketch against Ruby Soho.
That's gonna be sick.
The Briscoes, the GCW reigning GCW tag team champions, have an open challenge out.
Uh-oh.
An open
FTR,
challenge.
baby.
Who could
Yeah.
it be? Who could it
Say
possibly
yeah.
be? Answering the call.
Main event.
Yeah, mate.
I love main event, but if anyone else besides F2R walks
It's
out,
gonna be a little bit of a
people,
Yeah.
people are gonna lose it.
I hope they.
Maybe it's the Hardy Boys.
No,
Man.
Jeff's not confused on it.
Oh, he's
yeah,
not
yeah,
The thing with that is just that building was upstairs. It was the Manhattan Center.
yeah.
There was this one show I was at. It was a Ring of Honor show, and like 2000. It was when Masalva was in.
Okay, yeah. I was at the Philly show that weekend.
Yeah, I was at the show the next one at the Hammer, or not. It was at the Manhattan Center. Which, if you go in that building, it's a big building in New York. It's just down the street from Madison Square Garden on 34th Street
Mhm.
or 33rd Street.
34th.
And
Oh yeah, it is no, it is 34th, isn't it?
I think so.
It's a miracle.
So if you go into that, it's a big building. The whole building is called the Manhattan Center. Like if you go back to Old Raw where they say they're at the Manhattan Center, that's just the name of that whole building.
Mhm.
The Hammerstein Ballroom is right when you walk through the door. It's the biggest venue there. And I've been to ROH shows there. But if you go above that, and usually when you come in, you'll ride the elevator up. The ROH used to run shows at what's called the Grand Ballroom. And if you go back to the very, very original Monday Night Raws in 1993, and when they did the stuff in Raw 25 in 2008,
Yeah, that throwback one.
Yeah.
Was not that good.
Mhm.
that was the Grand Ballroom, which is in the top of that. And I went to many, many, many ROH shows there, including this one. And one of the matches that night was the Briscoes against the Age of the Fall. I think it was Jimmy Jacobs and Tyler Black,
Mhm.
Seth Rollins now.
Mhm.
And they did a DQ in like 90 seconds. And that crowd was so furious. I thought they were going to revolt. They just booed everything. Like Harley Race was the next guy out there doing something to
Boo.
honor Harley Race, and the crowd's booing because they thought that's all they were getting. And then they brought it back later. It was actually the real main event that night. They did like a no rules match. Like, fuck this crowd. You're booing Harley Race.
Yeah.
Grow
Why
up.
don't you piss the crowd off?
Yeah.
Like when Daniel Bryan didn't come out number 30 in that Rumble.
Oh, and it was
Everyone just-
Ray.
yeah, and Ray came out like boo.
Oh, Ray
then
officially
they shit on
announced
it.
as the WWE 2K22 cover athlete.
yeah.
Yeah.
And there's two covers. Isn't that cool?
Special edition version will be the NWO.
Oh,
Yeah, there's
okay.
an NWO version too.
Yeah.
By the way, the perfect thing to do in that Rumble, Wade Barrett should have been 30th because he was doing Bad News Barrett.
Oh yeah.
You thought Daniel Bryan was going
Yeah.
to be in the Royal Rumble.
I got some bad.
I'm afraid I've got some bad
Whatever
news.
happened to him? Does he
He is a
Commentary.
commentator on NXT.
Yeah.
really?
Yeah, he was on NWA and now he's on NXT.
Yeah, he doesn't do bad either. I like him on there. Before we get into our topic, there is one other thing we're not going to go too into detail with because I don't even know if there's a full card or what's going on with it. Maybe we can tie it in towards the end if we can get it going. But this Saturday, if you want, you can't come unless you have a ticket.
That is
It
next Saturday.
Next Saturday.
Oh, it's next Saturday. Never mind. We'll talk it next show. Sorry,
Moving on.
I'm ahead of myself.
This
Oh,
Saturday, I don't know any shows really.
This Saturday, if you're local and you're a fan of our other podcast, Bangin' Beers, we'll be on location this Saturday at the Little Brown Barrel in Minersville.
Mhm.
We're going to start recording at 12 o'clock.
Whoa.
There is a representative of another brewery there that day. And if Bill or Andy are watching, put it in the chat. I don't remember who it is, to be honest.
Mr. Brewery.
It's going to be a brewery there, and we're going to do a cool thing. So if you're local in the area, you want to try some fun beers, get some good food, come to the Little Brown Barrel in Minersville this Saturday.
Oh, I didn't know they had food there. I know they did when it was
Great food.
What was it before? The wooden cake.
The
wooden keg.
It was like the smaller version of the keg, wasn't it?
Yeah. They do great food there. So it's a great place. So that's all I got. But let's get into our topic. ECW One Night Stand.
From the Hammerstein Ballroom.
So a lot of people say Hammerstein too, but I believe it's Stein, right?
I've always heard Hammerstein.
You say Walter, I say Gunther.
Yeah.
From the Gunther Ballroom.
Gunther.
Gunther.
Now the little setup here, because I had to ask in because this is I was not watching wrestling at this point in time. I was just out of it.
Yeah, this
I'm
is
fully
2005, right?
2000. I don't have the exact date in front of me, and the internet's being weird.
Yeah.
But June 12th, 2005, I believe was the date. I know it was June 2005.
This is a return of
not yes.
of ECW.
Yes, but
for
no.
one
But it's
night
a
only.
one night only
Yeah.
return of ECW, but under the umbrella of WWF.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
we'll give you the backstory.
WWE.
They released the ECW Rise and Fall of ECW DVD, right? And it became this huge hit. It was the best selling WWE DVD at that time,
Mhm.
right? And it was great. It was
Showed
yeah,
interest.
Yeah, and they sold so many, and people like talking about it. Oh, ECW, wouldn't it be great if it came back?
Yeah, because at this point in 2005, ECW has been gone for 4 years.
Yes. I believe there was was it after this, the Hardcore Homecoming show?
It was around the same
yeah,
time.
Same time, yeah. Anyway, so everyone's
In fact, I think it was the night before.
okay.
I
Yeah.
think this was a Sunday. Hardcore Homecoming was at the ECW Arena the night before.
Which I have the DVD if you ever want to review the show.
Okay.
Everyone was like, let's bring ECW back. They should bring it back. And they actually said, well, let's do it, but we'll just do one pay-per-view. We're just gonna do one pay-per-view, and that's it.
And this is what
Which
this is.
everyone probably should have said, you know what?
Yeah,
give us that.
the second one night stand is good too.
Yeah, it is
that
good.
show was good, and
That's
then
the-
it was
that's
all
the-
downhill from there.
RVD versus John
John
Cena.
Yes,
Cena,
yes.
yeah,
And then end it there.
yeah,
because wasn't
Yeah.
RVD hurt for this one that
He
we're
was.
talking
Yeah.
about tonight?
Yeah.
I can
and
vaguely
then-
remember.
and then the second one was they were relaunching ECW as a brand.
Mm-hmm.
ECW was going to be on Sci-Fi, and they were trying to basically use that as the launching point. Like Van Dam beat John Cena for the title that night, and then he became the ECW champion too. And then he caught smoking weed in the car with Sabu, and it all went downhill.
Yeah.
Well, we still have the ECW television champ. At least we did, and he just threw it in the trash.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hey, you can kiss my tennis. And so that show had like Kurt Angle and Randy Orton, because Kurt Angle was going to be a guy in ECW, and then a month into it, he was gone.
Yeah.
And it was just a train wreck. You had
Yeah, it was just like we're here and it's
Mhm.
Yeah.
And Vince McMahon vinced all over the
Mhm.
ECW reboot, and then what happened. to
Paulie
NXT
was in
now.
charge, and it wasn't for long, and then he was out, and then once he was out, it was
Yeah.
And then eventually became NXT the game show, and then NXT proper, and now NXT shit.
Yeah.
So
So,
let's get into
Let's get into this
ECW
show.
Wednesday.
This was just supposed to be ECW's coming back for one night only, and it felt like ECW.
It did.
I mean, they had WWE's camera quality,
Yeah,
good lighting,
I
but
think they tried to get the ECW camera quality, like the
Yeah.
team, but they didn't want that. Like, no, you can't.
yeah. Well, Heyman does a promo during the show, and he calls them out. That's Charlie Brzezzi, and I forget the other guy's name.
Yeah.
They're actually in the front row.
They did get Atlas Security. Though.
Yes, they did. The security guys for the show are the guys who would always be at the arena.
Yeah.
They would always be there.
The show kicks off with a lot of emotion.
Yeah, Steven DeAngelis is your ring announcer for most of the show. He was a late ECW guy. He was in Hamburg.
Mhm.
He was at Legends of Hamburg, and he introduces Joey Styles, the voice of ECW for most of their run.
Yeah, and beloved by an ECW fan.
Now that I do commentary, and I'm not even by a long shot saying I'm good at it, but I got a chance with Sanctuary to really be weekly
Mhm.
and really get a lot of reps in and experience more as a commentator than most do in a 2-year career in one season at Sanctuary, because when you're doing it weekly, you're getting a lot of reps, and sometimes more than one day a weekend.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Just especially if you're booked twice, or they have multiple shows on Friday, Saturday, Sundays. So I'm very thankful for that. And there was one time where I had to do a show solo,
Mhm.
and holy fucking shitballs, is that hard? And Joey makes it look like it's the easiest thing on the
Yeah,
planet.
they do it all the time. And he would do the lead in for the match.
He's a
They
goat.
Show the camera.
He's
and
a
he
fucking
basically
goat.
cut promos for the match.
If there's a list, I know everyone says Shivani and everyone says and JR.
JR.
Older fans will say Gordon Sully, but I never
Or
liked
Lance-
Gordon.
Holy
Lance
shit,
Russell.
Joey has got to be in the conversation, because doing that by yourself and then the leads in and then that and just carrying the story while also doing play-by-play
Mhm.
completely by yourself, and then when you put him with somebody, it almost ruins it. You're that damn good.
Joey
And-
Styles was very good.
And his sense of humor was in the 90s when ECW was running, was right in line with where it needed to be.
Mhm.
Yeah.
He was snarky. He would make fun of the bad stuff on WWF and WCW. He was exactly what ECW needed in a commentator.
So good.
He did get to do Raw for a while.
Yeah. And maybe he doesn't work well with another person or a team, but he's got to be in the conversation. One of the
He
greats.
was okay with Don Callis on pay-per-views.
And
Him
Joe
and Gertner
Gertner.
were okay.
Yeah.
Rick Rude was his commentator for a little bit. That didn't really work, but Rick Rude, for a guy who could talk, was not a good announcer.
No,
Yeah.
Like
don't work
the
sometimes.
same skill it takes to cut a good promo is not the same skill it takes to be a good announcer.
Yeah.
And
Superstar Billy Graham was terrible commentary.
And one of the best promos that ever lived.
Yeah. So
Dusty Rhodes, unless you like some of the little clubbering and go to the pay win and the plunder, baby.
The plunder. He got bicycle. He got bicycle.
He got a I actually stole that line for Camp Leapfrog. I called the last Camp Leapfrog show. There was a buried alive match with CC Boost and the spoiler. And there's a part where CC Boost is coming in on a bicycle and just does a close off it. And I had to go, he got a bicycle.
Yeah, but he's got to be, for me, in the top 5 of all time.
I always like Joey Styles.
Yeah,
it was great.
Yeah. And then he gets a guest commentator spot.
Mick Foley, Cactus Jack in ECW, of course.
Didn't do as bad as I thought he was going to do.
No, it's all right. It's all right.
He didn't ruin the show for me.
No.
Yeah.
Nothing could ruin that. That show was amazing. And he was wearing the exact same shirt I'm wearing today.
Yeah, Cactus Jack shirt.
Not only a Cactus Jack shirt, but wanted dead.
Yeah.
That is the big distinction in the Cactus Jack shirt, because the ones they did for WWE said dead or alive. So the ones he put out himself, like this was a Pro Wrestling Tees version, and then the ones he did originally, they said dead, not dead or alive.
I gotta look at my shirt now.
Yeah, I used to have one, but
I don't know if mine's dead or alive.
I have a second one, but it's autographed, so don't wear it.
Oh,
yeah, by Mick.
Yeah,
that's a bucket list.
It's not Mick, it's Cactus. It's autographed.
Yeah. That's a bucket list for me. That's one guy. If I ever meet him,
of people I haven't met yet, that is the one I would like to meet the most.
Same here.
Yeah,
same here. If I ever meet him,
hang out at Knoebels.
Yeah, if I ever meet him, I hope to have my 4 Faces of Foley shirt I just got, and I want him to autograph it 4 times.
He's known to hang out over there once in a while.
He's gonna charge you for.
Mick Foley is at Knoebels all the time. Yeah.
I know he's over there at the Santa show all the time.
Yeah, he's a big
you
Christmas
see pictures
guy.
of him with people like from around our area. It's like
he loves Christmas and he loves roller coasters. So Knoebels is big for him.
Mm-hmm.
They did that show on the network, Holy Foley, and I think one of the things he goes to Knoebels.
Yeah, it's Christmas room in his house.
Yeah. And there's his 2 favorite theme parks are that, and there's one, I don't know if it's still around, in New York called Santa's Village.
Yep.
And those are his big favorite ones. But yeah, he is the color commentator with Joey Styles doing play-by-play here. And we open with Lance Storm taking on Lionheart, Chris Jericho.
Good match.
Former tag team, the Thrill Seekers, right?
Yeah, they bring that up. And I forget, I think they were called because they bring up Lance Storm was coming out with Dawn Marie, who I think at this point had already been in and out of WWE.
Yeah, remember she was doing the
Wrestlers Rescue thing for a minute.
Did she do the thing with Tori Wilson at that point?
Yeah, I think that was before
this. Yeah, and then Al Wilson, and he died. We'll talk about that.
He died on the Smack. He died in story. Then he just recently did die for real.
Yeah.
She
banged him to death.
Yeah, Dawn Marie did. Yeah.
Well, that's a hell of a way to
I
go.
know. She was looking good, so the head go out that way.
She hated Tori Wilson so much that she married her father and banged him to death. Yeah.
But she wanted to go with Tori Wilson.
Yeah.
Really?
There's a thing on a pay-per-view.
Is that bro booking?
No, he
was gone.
Oh, wow.
This is I don't know who it was. Probably I don't know, Vince.
Lagana, I think, was running SmackDown at that point. Maybe.
I have one critique with this show is I think we'll get to it here at the end of this match, but I think there may have been the fan service was tuned to 11, but sometimes that fan service being turned up so high because you need to get more people seen on the camera can affect outcomes of matches, maybe, and that's kind of happens here in your opening.
An ECW thing.
Okay,
ECW would always lead into the next.
Are you going to
match.
say you're not happy that Jericho lost? Because I can tell you exactly why he lost.
Well, he wanted to put over Lance. He wanted to give Lance a win. Right.
That is the only reason why Jericho lost.
Yeah. He wanted him to walk out but I thought it would have been cooler to maybe to Lance win clean, but I understand that they wanted to get.
Well, here's why. Lance Storm at this point, this is 2005. Lance Storm stopped being an active wrestler in WWE in 2004, and he wound up helping train in OVW. And around the time this was happening, he wanted to leave that too. This was at the time Lance Storm left WWE completely. And he started the Storm Wrestling Academy in Calgary, which still exists. And a lot of people come through there. A lot of women, especially Emma, Tennille Dashwood is a Storm graduate. There was a guy for a little bit, Sylvester Lafort.
They put him with Elijah Burke. Right?
I think in NWA he was with him, but he was in NXT for a little bit when they first got started on takeovers. He was a Storm guy. Tyler Breeze is a Lance Storm guy. Taya Valkyrie, I believe, was from Lance Storm's Academy.
Was there a girl?
Cassie Lee.
Yeah, I was gonna say
why can't I think of her?
Billy Kay.
No, the other one. Peyton Royce.
Peyton Royce.
Maybe Billy Kay too, but Peyton Royce was a Lance Storm trainee. Lance Storm, he thought this was going to be his last match. Period. He did come back. He did do some matches afterward. This was supposed to be his last match. This was him retiring. Chris Jericho is his best friend in wrestling. They had their first match together. There was no way Chris Jericho was going to allow himself to lose that match.
Yeah, no, I don't mind him losing. I just maybe the kendo stick cheap shot run in.
I don't think WWE wanted Jericho to lose clean. He was in the main event program with Cena at this point.
Yeah,
Him and Justin Credible, the Impact players, they were like multiple.
yeah, they wanted to show the Impact players. They wanted. It was fan
It
service.
makes sense. And ECW,
Yeah,
there was always someone running in.
Yeah,
the other thing about this show too is this show is kind of very unique for WWE because it's the only show I can think of that's really non-canon.
yeah.
Like what happened on this show didn't really matter anywhere else.
Mhm.
It was in a bubble.
Yeah, it was his own show.
Yeah, it was non-canon. That's
The only thing with that one too is they snuck the shot in. Where in like I guess like it was almost like WWE style forgot about ECW where you don't have to like hide it. You can just walk in, kick someone in the balls and walk
What
out.
would happen is like.
By the way, the referee in this match is Mike Keener, who is the brother of Dave Keener from the 2300 podcast.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, Mike Keener. Yeah, I've been on a couple shows with him.
Yeah.
Usually what
Do you ever
happens,
wrestle him? Do you ever wrestle
I
Kid
never
America?
did. I never wrestled Kid America. There was almost, but I didn't.
Yeah.
Usually, like, so if Justin Credible came out and hit Chris Jericho on the old ECW, somebody else would then come out,
Yeah.
and then that would be your next match.
Okay.
That's how they would do it. They
Yeah.
would flow matches like that, and that was kind of
I didn't hate it, but that was maybe the only thing that like it's gonna go on as the show goes. It's gonna be a lot of run-ins, a lot of
That's ECW.
a lot of fan service.
That's ECW.
Yeah.
But they knew they had to, because you couldn't have that show and not cater to the ECW fans.
Yeah.
Especially that crowd, because the crowd was electric. They would just turn on it immediately.
I'm shocked how hot they stayed through some of those promos because some of them were very long-winded.
Especially the WWE guys, but they were so like, shut the fuck up. So.
Yeah, it was. It's a testament to how much they wanted that show that night,
And
that they stayed high energy as long as they did.
and ECW, the crowd was always one of the biggest characters.
Yeah.
So, and that was a show too.
That was almost the persona itself, was the crowd.
They would a wrestling show today. Most wrestling shows today
Kill.
would have not made it past that second
No, they would
stop show promo.
Oh yeah.
They would have killed the
Well,
complete.
this crowd was waiting for that show for 4 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they were so hungry.
And unfortunately, Andy's old manager, Hat Guy, wasn't there.
No, it wasn't.
But right in the front row was Vlad.
Yeah.
Vlad, the super fan, was right there in the front row.
Green Lantern fans there somewhere.
Yeah,
He's
Green
crying.
Lantern fans like one of the first guys you see.
Yeah. And he's crying. It's like, oh God. I haven't seen him in years. I wonder if he's still alive.
I don't know.
I haven't heard anything, so I don't know.
The one story I heard from him is the one WrestleMania in Tampa, the one where Ric Flair retired. Apparently, he went to that show in a tuxedo and was greeting people as they would come in, like, "Welcome to WrestleMania."
Really?
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
he was,
awesome.
He was strange.
He proposed on one of the early episodes of Raw and did not marry that woman.
Oh,
That when Bobby Heenan.
Yeah,
Yeah, I didn't know that was him.
that's Green Lantern.
Yeah,
fan,
that's funny.
So some of the chants, one of the big chants on this match was for Chris Candido, who I remember we talked about Barely Legal not that long ago. Candido was a big part of that. They doing a promo. He was skipped from the Body Donnas. He was a big part of ECW's in the Triple Threat, and he died like maybe a month and a half before the show.
Mhm.
He was we really brought up when we were talking about Tammy too, because he was with Tammy forever. He was in a match in TNA and he got a blood clot in his leg. He hurt his leg. Somebody ran into him, and he got on the plane, and the blood clot like either went to his lungs or his heart or something like that, and he passed. And it
wasn't he like 33 or something?
he was
like that?
super young
Yeah.
too. He
Sucks.
was super young because he started wrestling when he was like 16.
Yeah.
Well, kind of a segue here. After this match happens,
Yeah.
they do the remembering our fault, like Pitbull, one of the Pitbulls.
Yeah.
It'd be Garrett,
I have a list
Anthony
here.
Durante.
Mhm.
Yeah.
He comes out and says,
No, Gary Wolf was the one that came out,
he's the one that died.
well, he didn't come out. He does a backstage thing
Okay,
where
yeah,
he
that's
says,
Gary Wolf.
he goes, "Thank you guys for being here."
He's Pitbull 1, Gary.
Pitbull won, and he says, but our fallen brothers who couldn't be here tonight have the best seat in the house, and they do like a remembrance package.
Yeah, and some of those people
cool.
were barely in ECW too.
Yeah.
There was someone like I'm like, okay,
That list has grown tremendously since.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, I mean, it has been
that was one
100
of the,
years.
that was
almost
one of
20?
the things. Like, I guess they hadn't died yet because I was thinking like, okay, John Kronos isn't there.
Yeah.
But just to kind of wrap up the Storm Jericho match, the finish there is the Lance Storm's one of his big moves is the rolling crab. They call it the Calgary crab. And Jericho, he did the Lion Tamer when he was Lionheart. And so he has Storm in the Lion. Jericho has Storm in the Lion Tamer. Dom Reed gets up in the apron to distract while Lance Storm's tapping out. That's why you had the distraction more because Lance was about to tap out.
Yeah.
Just Incredible and Jason, who was the manager of the Impact
The
players.
sexiest man in the world.
Sexiest man alive, Jason. Former ECW TV champion, Jason Knight. And My buddy Jack used to go to a lot of the early ECW shows, and Jason was like one of their big heels on them, and somebody slashed his tires.
Oh,
boy.
man.
And they had to help him change his tires. Yeah.
I'd be fucking pissed
I'd be
if
so
I just
mad.
finished the
Especially because
show.
Jason was coming from like Massachusetts. He's
Yeah,
from Connecticut. I
if
think
I
he's a
fucking
Connecticut
come out
guy.
and my tires are slashed, I'm gonna be fucking hot.
And so there's a distraction, and then there's a run in, and so the finish is that Storm shoots Jericho into the ropes, whack with the
It
cane,
was a good shot.
incredible
Mhm.
whacks in between the eyes with a cane. This is pre concussion protocol, and then that's the pin for Lance Storm, who for the most part that was the end of him for real as like a full-time wrestler. He had a few matches in Ring
He
of
looked
Honor.
great.
Oh, he was always in really good shape.
Mhm.
He had a few matches in the Indies here, like he would wrestle a lot of his students as the because this thing is the SWA Storm Wrestling Academy, was the SWA kid. He wrestled Brian Alvarez once because they were good friends. He just wanted to wrestle him, so he wore a mask and wrestled him. One of the great things about that is with the match with Alvarez, because he's supposed to be the ideal Canadian. He's this Canadian guy that got brought in, and he's doing all these moves that Canadian people do. He does like a spear, but he does edges moves, and he does like he's doing like
Sharpshooter,
the sharpshooter. He does
Line tamer.
all this stuff. The I'm prettier, and then he
V
does,
trigger.
and he's ripping up. Well, this is pre Kenny Omega. Kenny Omega wasn't huge back then.
What was
But
Brian Pillman's finisher?
he's not Canadian.
Oh, I think. Oh, he just hung out with a Canadian.
Yeah,
He was Canadian by-
he trained with the Hearts.
Yeah, he was Canadian by
Association.
marriage.
But
Or-
one of the things is like he does is the rolling crab, and it's like, oh, he's pretending to be Lance Storm, and he actually is Lance Storm.
Yeah, that's-
And then freaking Alvarez ruined it because he's like firing up for the finish. He's like, come on, Lance, and it's like, who?
What?
Oh.
Lance Steele from Chicago.
yeah.
So then we had the in memoriam segment. Gary Wolf Pipple one does the introduction. Then Rocco Rock from Public Enemy was one of the people on here. Terry Gordy, who had a few spots in ECW.
Yeah, cup of coffee.
Mike Lockwood, who I didn't really remember.
I don't.
No, not Mike Lockwood. Mike Lockwood is Crash Holly.
Oh, okay.
Who I didn't really remember. I think he might have been Aaron O'Grady a few times toward the end, but he was barely in ECW.
I loved Crash Holly as a character
Yeah, before that he was Aaron O'Grady. I think that's the name he was
when he
in
carried the
ECW.
scale around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fun fact, way off topic, going back to PPW real quick. Someone who we had in the podcast who wrestled last Backbreaker show,
Yeah,
who wrestled illegally as a cruiserweight.
he might be able to do it legally.
He might
now.
be able to be a cruiserweight. He's on that keto diet. He looks Travis Dorian looks
Travis
fucking
Dorian,
amazing.
I didn't recognize Travis Dorian. That's how good he looked.
He's
That keto diet, man, that is something. I will say
but
that.
he
If you can stick to it.
he lost a lot of weight, but it's not like he looks unhealthy skinny.
Yeah,
like
sick.
he looks
It's
good.
also I think the first time I ever saw Travis in a shirt that had sleeves, so that might have thrown me off.
Yeah.
Well, I can't blame him in that
Cool.
building,
Yeah.
but yeah, he looks amazing.
Yeah,
He's in
keep up the great work.
incredible
But
shape.
if you are listening or if people are watching,
And
tag him and say, you know,
one thing
great, he looks awesome.
I will plug for Backbreakers on the 29th. I know it's sold out, but we'll do a full thing on it next week.
Real quick too with Travis, he put a picture of himself as the TV champion of PPW at one point in time. Did you ever see that title? It looks like
No.
the old Intercontinental title. It was
Really?
fucking gorgeous.
Whatever happened to that?
Where is that title at? That title was awesome.
Because the new one is. They need a new one.
If you have a
Well, the new
chance,
one.
go check
The
out
current
his
one, I should
go
say.
check out his Facebook page.
They need a new champ too.
He puts a photo up of him in that title. It's a
Really?
white strap, and it looks exactly like when I
Maybe
looked
they're just
at it.
using the Intercontinental title.
It might have been
Yeah.
an
No, but it
Intercontinental.
says PPW television
well,
title.
Back in the day, the thing was let's buy a replica title and put a sticker on it.
Yeah,
Oh,
So that's
that
what
might
it might
have been
be.
what it was.
It looks fucking awesome.
Well, you want even if the belt's lame, you want a belt
You
that's
want
not a replica.
Yeah, you want an
Yeah.
individual.
I have to look
belt.
at it. I don't know if it was a replica.
I don't know. I didn't see
Yeah.
it, so I can't say.
I'll
So-
pull it up while you guys are talking.
So for that Backbreaker show on the 29th, it will be a rematch from 2 shows ago, where it's Travis Dorian against Johnny Moran
There
with
we go.
CR O'Malley in his corner. Other people were in this thing: the original Sheik, Mike Lazansky, Pitbull 2, Anthony Durrani, Big Dick Dudley had already passed at this point, and they closed with Chris Candido, who had just passed. And then you come back to the crowd, and it's a big Candido chant again. And then we have the International Three-Way Dance as our next match. When they were first coming out, I thought it was going to be a tag. Because you come out at first, and it's Tajiri and Mikey Whipwrecker. The first one's out with the Sinister
Yeah, and you're
Minister.
like, oh, okay.
All right, so I guess it's going to be, yeah, there you go. Mike
That's-
Whipwreck, Jerry Lynn, front row material.
Yeah.
You're showing Jerry Lynn's name. Mikey's on the bottom.
Yeah.
Mike, you're down here.
and
It was
then-
possessed Mikey Whipwreck.
Yeah, so they're out first, and then it's the FBI, and they have everybody but Big Sally.
Yeah.
Even JT Smith was there.
I know how about that.
Old Brown Eyes. You have Big Guido, who was also Primo Carnera Jr. the third, and
It might be a sticker.
you had
I think it's a sticker.
I think it looks
JT
And if
Smith,
it's not,
Tracy
let's-
that's a
Smothers.
sticker, I think.
It might be a sticker, yeah. JT
I mean,
Smith,
I'm not schooled as these two, but that
Tracy
looks kind of
Smothers,
stickerish to me.
Tony Mamaluke is out with them. And okay, I'll go. Well, your first team is going to be Mikey and Tajiri. Your second team is going to be Guido and Mamaluke.
Yeah.
And then Super Crazy come out and I'm like, who's Super Crazy's partner?
The crowd.
He doesn't have one.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, okay, Mikey's not wrestling. Tony Mamaluke's not wrestling. So the only person in this match who wasn't a regular on WWF or WWE TV at the time was Super Crazy.
Yeah.
Didn't he have a big high spot in this match?
He did.
too?
Yeah,
Like he jumped off a balcony.
Yes,
and
he did.
always-
shit, right?
that was
Moonsault off the balcony.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they would. This triple threat match they had at many pay-per-views, and it was
Yeah.
like one of their few.
I'm
They would
a
always
big
wrestle.
Tajiri fan, and I was always a big Super Crazy fan. I really liked both of them
Yeah.
a lot. Like
Oh,
when they were on TV, I was excited.
Their triple threat match were always good. And Super Crazy would always do a moonsault off the balcony.
That's what he did here. Yeah. So
Made it look easy.
And his 3 moonsaults in the corner.
Nunzio will
1, 2, 3.
also be at that I think it's called Northern Tier
Yeah,
Wrestling.
NTW.
He was also at Legends of Hamburg, right?
Yeah.
Little Guido?
Was he?
I think he may.
One
have
of the FBI members were at Legends of
Well, it
Hamburg.
certainly wasn't Tracy Smothers.
Yeah, it wasn't.
Oh no,
Tracy
Big
Smothers.
Sally I know was there. Maybe
That's
Nunzio
what
was
it
Yeah,
too.
it's the big
Or
Sam.
maybe
yeah.
Little Guido was too. But yeah, Little Guido, I think it might be a mystery partner.
No, it's him and I seen the graphics. Him and Isaac.
no.
Rule
I'm
first-
talking about. Oh yeah, it's him and Isaac Rule against Diamond City War
Yeah.
Machines. That's the match. Yeah. So yeah, Little Guido and Isaac Rule from PPW fame against Diamond City War Machines with Joe Davis.
Yeah, NTW. I'm not sure where the show is though. Somewhere in Pennsylvania.
And so yeah, you did a big balcony dive. Mikey Whipwreck, he had to hurt himself like crazy on this one because he did the stunner.
Yeah, the
But they call it the
whippersnapper.
whippersnapper. He does it off the second rope to Little Guido, and he lands right on his ass from
Yeah.
the second rope, and that couldn't have been fun.
Whippersnapper.
And the great thing about that is he used the whippersnapper because he beat Steve Austin.
Yeah.
That's when he started using it. And then Super Crazy hits another moonsault onto Jerry to end it, which is weird because he was the only guy that wasn't a regular on TV. You had Tajiri, who had been a regular for a while, Nunzio or Little Guido, who had been a
Yeah.
regular for a while, but Super Crazy gets the win here. And a few weeks after this, the Mexicals debut.
Yeah.
Super Crazy, Psychosis is going to be in our next match, and Hoovy,
Oh yeah, Hoover too.
who was not on this show.
Yeah.
for some reason.
And they give road a riding lawnmower.
Yeah, because they're Mexican, so they're coming in on a riding lawnmower.
Oh, what's his name had a little a racial Mexican slur during this show.
Oh, well,
JBL.
ECW.
JBL did a lot on this show.
Yeah.
So then we do another video package of ECW memories from the early days. They start showing the Shane Douglas promo. You see the Tasmaniac coming out there. The night the line was crossed. The thing where JT Smith almost broke his back when Mike Awesome did a dive. Foreshadowing. Something happens on a dive later tonight. Public Enemy just dancing around, doing some fun stuff. The Sandman, life's a bitch, and then you marry one.
Them when ECW would end and they show their promos and they would like do the Batman angle and it was just a bunch of people doing promos at the end. That's something that they should keep.
And that was
like AEW should do that.
That was at the time where Sandman's ex-wife and his son were hanging around Raven a lot.
Yeah.
Daddy, you're a drunk. I'm with Raven now. I had you had the Funks against the Public Enemy where they hanged Rocco Rock by his ankles. Terry
Yeah.
Funk hanged him by his ankles and Doors just beating on him. Just Sabu doing his crazy stuff. The thing where Woman and the Sandman are caning Tommy Dreamer.
Yeah, thank you, man. I have another.
Just throw the infamous thing that was always close their opening credits on the TV show where it was Funk and Cactus against Public Enemy. And this wasn't something that was planned. It just happened. And I think it was Funk. Either Funk or Cactus calls to have one of the people in the crowd throw him a chair to use. And hundreds of chairs.
Yeah, they keep coming.
The Public Enemy are buried in chairs. And Funk, I think, takes one to the head, and Cactus is like, get the fuck out of here. And
They both left him.
one of the most famous moments in ECW was on their TV forever. The flaming Brandon irons there, not the flaming chair. They didn't show that one because.
Well, that branding iron is the one that Jeff said that he was at that show. And
No, that would have been the fire chair.
No, he said it was a branding iron because someone got hit with it, like a fan.
That was a chair.
Was it?
Yeah, he might have crossed it in his mind, but yeah.
The flaming Brandon iron was safe. The fire chairs that almost got them shut down.
Yeah, because when he went to swing at the rag that was soaked in kerosene.
It
came
was,
off the
I think
chair.
it was one of Foley's red flannels. He had some kind of rag or towel or shirt wrapped in around a chair, and he went to swing a Funk with it, and the chair bounced off the ropes, and the flaming whatever it was flew into the crowd and hit somebody in the leg. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, oh,
And-
boy.
I mean, you can get
And
hit
then-
with that for
yeah.
a minute at least. At least that's how.
Yeah.
And,
And then-
side note, that's how my batons used to be. I used to twirl fire. You would stick them in kerosene, light them on fire. You could get hit with it a minute and just get like singed
Yeah.
a little bit,
Yeah.
but you weren't really burnt. But if it, I would imagine if it landed on you like
Yeah,
that.
and you're like, oh, I don't know.
And then to
Yeah.
make matters worse on that show, the lights went out and they popped back on. And all hell's breaking loose because the guy was on fire, and they went back on because Tommy Dreamer was being crucified by Raven up in the Eagles' nest. And somebody was at that show and wasn't very happy about it. We'll talk about that later. So you also had a thing with the Shane Douglas throwing down the title. You can all kiss my ass, throwing down the NWA title. One of the best angles they ever did, where the Sandman is acting like he's blinded. He sold it to like everybody, his neighbors. And
He
was
can
blind.
see.
And he rips it off and he just hits Dreamer over the head with his cane. And when all the fans got in the ring with Public Enemy and they broke the ring, that was in there
and they're
too.
dancing.
He had a little bit of a line during the PPW show that like not rubbed me the wrong way, but I was like, come on, Sandman, chill out. He looked across the room and he seen everybody was at Dina Perrazzo's table and he goes, who's she? And I go, Dina Perrazzo. He goes, yeah, who's she?
He probably doesn't know.
And
who
I was
she
like,
is.
No,
I was
he
like, she,
doesn't- he
I was
was
like,
noted.
she's killing it on the scene right now. She's like a champion in 3 major promotions. He goes, and he just goes, and I was like,
He has been noted for saying derogatory stuff for
Yeah.
women wrestlers.
I was like,
Plus,
So you know
I
that.
would
He
think
probably
that
doesn't,
Sandman
follow
doesn't watch
wrestling.
wrestling.
Right
yeah.
No.
I was just like, I don't know. He could have been like, oh, that's cool, good for her. But he was
I
just
know,
like,
don't-
I think he is a little bit.
I would say Sandman might not even know who Becky Lynch is.
It's possible.
Yeah.
I think he was upset because more people were at
Well,
the
probably.
other side of the
He,
ring.
he
I
did
guess.
okay for himself.
Yeah.
Sandman was doing all right there. So the next match was Psychosis against Rey Mysterio Jr. Well, they called him Rey Mysterio. They brought up Joey Styles brings up like formerly Rey Mysterio Jr. Vince would
He lost
never
the
want
junior,
anybody to be
yeah.
Oh,
juniors.
so Mick Foley kind of said like him, and like I think he said his dad, and then Joey Styles corrects him on commentary,
Yeah.
and he goes, "You
Mhm.
dick, you could have just not said anything."
Yeah. Well, yeah, because the original Rey Mysterio is Rey Mysterio Jr.'s uncle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then his son, the original Rey Mysterio, his son actually did wrestle, but he was El Hijo del Rey Mysterio.
Yeah.
And that's usually how they do it in Mexico. Like usually if you see a junior, it could be like somebody completely unrelated. It's just like the original, you had the original La Parca, who was in WCW, and then you had La Parca Jr., who's the one that died a few years ago.
And then L.A. Parka.
Well, that was the original La Parca. There was a guy La Parca Jr. who he wasn't like a mini, he wasn't like mini La Parca, because if he was a mini, like a little person, that wouldn't be La Parca Jr., that would be mini La Parca.
Yeah.
And so Junior is just like another person. Sometimes they're a relation, a lot of times they are, but sometimes they're not even.
Yeah.
Because La Parca Jr. was no relation at all to La Parca. And then when La Parca left AAA, he became LA Park because AAA owned the name. And then La Parca Jr. just became La Parca.
Yeah.
So, but if you see like El Hijo del Santo is El Santo's son.
Mhm.
And then Psychosis takes his mask off,
Yeah.
and then the crowd chants, "Put your mask back on."
Yeah.
What some people, it's funny because at this point,
Well, it was like when Hoovy took his mask off. I'm like, hey, he's good looking.
yeah, at some point, Ray just was like, in the United States, I'm going to ignore the fact that I lost my mask.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Psychosis lost his mask to Billy Kidman on Nitro, the mask versus hair match, and he lost it in Mexico. Well, he lost being Psychosis. He was Nico Millonero, because he's another guy that left AAA and AAA on the gimmick, but he could still use it in the US for whatever reason. But yeah, he never went back to the mask where Ray did. Like Ray, there was like oh, nobody sees Ray's face. Now plenty of people see Ray's face.
Plenty.
If you watched WCW for the last year and a half it was around, you saw Ray's face
Mhm.
And his stupid little horns.
and his overall.
Yeah. Oh. Well,
So yeah, and this was a match where they did almost like a house show match. You could
Yeah,
tell
it
like
it was all right.
yeah, and there were even some boring chants during a
Yeah.
sleeper hold. They got the crowd back. They did like a leg drop over the railing. And Ray went with his WWE movie, the 619, the West Coast
Yeah, and they
Pop.
booed that.
I was gonna say, I think I remember that.
Yeah, anything that was not ECW, that was WWE related, they booed
yeah.
it.
Boo.
Yeah.
They booed a sleeper hold.
Of course.
Yeah, it's a rest hold.
Yeah.
There's no rest holds in ECW.
Yeah.
Was it the Cactus when he's doing the anti-hardcore thing?
Yeah, I'm hardcore.
Yeah, he was like against hardcore wrestling, and he goes he's wrestling Tommy Dreamer, and he's like saying like he hit me with a closed fist, disqualify him. He's like, Cactus, I'm not going to disqualify him. This is ECW. And so he walks there. He's like, count me out. It's like, Cactus, this is ECW. There's no count outs. He's like, do something. He's like, Cactus, why are you being such a pussy? And it's the referee. So then, so after that match, the Crusaders, they called them the whole show, the
Ugh.
anti-ECW Crusaders from SmackDown arrive. And it's JBL, Kurt Angle, Orlando Jordan, a few
There's a
others were
name.
there. Orlando Jordan, yeah. Well, he was part of JBL.
Yeah,
he was his chief of staff.
the cabinet.
The cabinet, yeah. Him and I think one of the Bashers were there.
and then Jillian Hall.
Oh, yeah, Jillian Hall was there, wasn't it? Oh, no, I don't
She
think
wasn't
Jillian
there,
Hall
but she was in the cabinet.
She was in the cabinet. Amy Weber was there for a second
Oh,
before
yeah.
JBL drove her off. So they show up, and then the crowd is just chanting vulgar things at them. There's a sign that said Kane Bischoff, like a Kane
Kane
Dewey
Dewey.
sign. Fuck you, SmackDown is one of the chants that you can be repeated on this show.
You know what's crazy? They chanted fuck every 30 seconds.
Oh yeah,
And
then,
nothing was done. And then the second RVD gets in the ring and says fuck, they bleeped it.
yeah. Every time there are a few times like people said fuck on the mic, but yeah, that gets bleeped. But everything that the crowd says is fine, because you have to just mute the crowd the whole time, because they're either saying fuck, they're calling somebody a crack whore.
I
they're saying
think
they have
I think
herpes.
when I don't know if we're there, we're not there yet, but when the first wave of people come in,
This is the first wave.
they actually cut the length. You could tell they chopped it and made it shorter, like to kind of get, because I guess they let the crowd
There
play
might have
out
been
longer.
an ad because there's Peacock ads too, so some of them might get cut up by an ad break.
It kept. Well, I wasn't getting ad break. I guess it just stopped where the ad break would be, because I paid for no ads. It just kind of stopped.
Oh wow,
It went to a
okay.
black screen and then kept playing.
Yeah, they might
Oh.
just cut.
I thought they chopped out some of the crowd noise.
They may have.
Yeah.
So then they did another one of those clips of like old ECW stuff. Bubba doing the opening ceremonies from November to Remember. Too Cold doing a 450 splash. You had 911 choke slamming Bill Alfonso, which the crowd went nuts for. Monday NyQuil when Steve Austin was there and he was making fun of Eric Bischoff. The Sandman caning Conan. The chair shot when Raven was handcuffed to the the cage. So
that was in the intro forever.
yeah, no putting your hands up when they're cuffed to the cage.
Yeah.
So he just took a chair over the head. Ray and Psychosis. When Shane Douglas shook the halo with Pitbull 1.
And we learned on the past podcast is he was actually healed by then, but kept it on for
kept
that
it on
spot.
for- yeah.
That's dedication.
Yeah.
When Jerry Lawler invaded ECW and him and Van Dam and Sabu beat up the Dreamer. What they didn't show here, what really happened is they took the Sandman's cane that night and just hit Dreamer, like they tried to do the thing where you hit the map, but you act like you hit him in the groin. They actually caught Dreamer and ruptured one of his testicles.
Oh,
Yeah.
fuck. Dude, Dreamer looked good back in the day. When he was doing that thing, you sure might have another. His chest.
Well, that was
jacked.
that was when he looked good, and then he started to look not as good. And then by the time they do this match, he's looking really good again.
Yeah.
Then Benoit breaking Sabu's neck was here.
That's tough to watch.
Yeah,
Suplex deal.
and he holds his neck and runs out of the ring. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was tough.
You took a couple bumps during your match, PPW. That looked a little sketchy. I was like, oh, I hope he's all right.
Yeah, I was all right.
Yeah, they look good. I mean,
I had to check too. Yeah,
yeah, I was like, ooh, that one when you got thrown into the
Yeah,
that
the
was the one I
ropes.
wanted to check on. Yep.
Yep.
Bill Alfonso and Todd Gordon, Tommy Dreamer pile driving Beulah. That was the old thing. She wore the skirt and then you'd do the pile driver.
Yeah.
Or like it was
Yeah.
ECW is like so much stuff you can't get.
Yeah.
away with.
Didn't he do the whole
Yes.
yeah.
No, not with her. I think it was more Francine.
Yeah, when
Francine.
Francine. Yeah.
The funny thing about that is the Dreamer and Beulah wound up getting married and are
Yeah.
married to this day and have children.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, Sabu and Van Dam, Dreamer finally pinning Raven. When Beulah said she was pregnant when Richards was trying to hit on her.
Yeah. I'm pregnant. Boo.
And then like everybody goes nuts because she's like, it's Tommy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they did have kids later. So
Yeah.
Taz and Douglas for the TV title. So that's your clip show there. Joel Gertner.
Did
comes
we
out
pass the clip where the ring collapses?
here.
Yeah.
We talked about it.
Yeah.
What show was that?
That was just some random show where Public Enemy won the main event, and then they invited all the crowd into the
Yeah.
ring.
They're lucky no one died.
I know.
That's why they didn't let fans in the
This is
ring.
like-
So-
The falls. It's like, oh my god, and they all get up there like.
Could you
"Yay!"
imagine if someone at that time was just getting out, like they sensed it, bailed on that side, and then it slid and hit them?
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
that could have
yeah.
that could have ended so bad.
Oh, yeah.
Probably all those people just chanted ECW after that.
yeah.
Yeah, like my legs broke.
Yeah.
ECW. That-
Dedication.
there is a limit to how much a ring can hold.
Yeah,
Yes, there is.
especially when you're all swaying and jumping around and shit.
Who cleared that?
Yeah.
Oh, nobody
no one.
cleared things in ECW.
Even the most shit show thing. Like, did they just like not fucking care at
The
all?
Wild West.
Holy fuck! I've been at indie shows where it's just like, man, almost any like there's rules like don't do this, don't do
Yeah.
that, but it's very like implied like you can get a little by half. Like,
Yeah.
but at what point does someone just go, this is a great idea. Keep letting him go in there. Like,
I mean,
what a great moment this is going to be.
and so many of their shows are Pennsylvania shows, and it is a commission state, but the commission wasn't as
oh my God.
back then. That was back in the Frank Talent days. Like, yeah, Frank Talent. Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh, there's a barbed wire. Oh, what's that?
Yeah, a lot.
yeah.
Yeah. A lot of times they would just get carried away.
Holy
You know,
fuck.
they didn't mean to do it; just would happen. And well, what are you gonna do?
That's
This
nuts.
is ECW.
Crazy.
So then Joel Gertner comes out, and the SmackDown people have nothing of it. He's doing his well, and the whole thing, and they just throw him down, and he runs away.
Which could have been a crazy spot too.
Yeah, well,
Because JBL, he shoves the
that-
shit at him.
that was
Yeah.
later. JBL wasn't out. Or no, he was there. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, JBL shoves him on the balcony, and that balcony is not even waist
Yeah.
high.
No.
If he shoves him
would've
as
went
hard as he
over.
did, he could have went over.
Yeah.
And then when he fell back, there's not a lot of space with the end, and then it starts to turn. If he would have not fell exactly where he fell, he could have smacked his head. He
Mhm.
could have it could have been a tough spot. Because obviously he didn't give a fuck about his
Yeah.
well-being. He just
Yeah.
shoved the guy.
No,
You know what I
he
mean?
didn't
Like,
care at all.
Yeah, that's not the worst thing JBL did that night.
Yeah.
yeah.
Again. So Angle is just yelling at the ECW fans. They're chanting right back. "You suck, dick" is their thing, and they're like,
I learned it from your
taught me
mother."
how."
Yeah.
Then he's talking about how he walked out of an ECW event. He didn't walk out, but he kind of did.
Yeah.
ECW was actually the first company to approach Kurt Angle to sign him. Pennsylvania guy, so they brought him into the ECW arena, and like, yeah, come in, check out a show. The place where they had commentary, the ECW they had the stage where like the bingo board was and everything, because it really was a bingo hall back then, and that's where Joey Styles' commentary was. They showed a thing where like Brian Lee chokeslams Dreamer off of this thing through 3 tables. It was up here, and it was called the Eagle's Nest. So they had Kurt Angle like hanging out there just watching the show, and the show he's watching is the one we were talking about earlier, where the guy gets the chair, the flaming rag or whatever on his leg, and the lights go out, and Tommy Dreamer's being crucified. Kurt Angle was at that show, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm never coming back here again."
I'm out.
And
Never doing this again.
yeah. And for a while, he was very against even doing wrestling because he thought, he was like, I'm not an actor.
Yeah.
And wrestling is acting, and it's beneath me. And he was trying to do like newscasting in Pittsburgh, and it didn't work out well. And eventually money talked, because even when he started with Vince, and he said this, he's like, "I'll come in, but I can't lose.
Yeah.
I can never lose. Like, they would never be able to beat me. I'm a gold medalist." And eventually he learned, like, okay, sometimes
Yeah.
you gotta
That's how it
lose.
works.
You actually are kind of an actor. So yeah, he really did walk out, and JBL was making bingo hall jokes, and this is all interrupted by Rob Van Dam, who, like Joey Styles earlier in the day, is just super emotional here,
Mhm.
super emotional, and just doesn't care. He's talking about like just impassioned and well thought out here, and he's like, "You're gonna hear me say things other than whatever and cool." He's making fun of his character in WWE.
Yeah, I actually have a vocabulary.
And he does call himself the whole fucking show, but they bleep out fucking, even though the crowd is cursed every 5 seconds
Yeah.
in the whole show. And yeah, he's talking about this.
Remember what I have?
Do they curse it out? Do they bleep it out on the pay-per-view too? or
No. On the
Just on
The
the
rerun
Peacock
on
app.
Peacock.
I vividly remember watching this pay-per-view.
Mhm.
It was much different. Even the DVD, because no, Andy has a DVD. The DVD is a little different too. It's one big thing is different
Mhm.
from the live pay-per-view and literally anything else. There's one major difference that comes later.
Mhm.
But we have Van Dam saying that's like, missing this sucks worse than missing the European tour. Worse than missing Booker T's wedding. I'd rather miss WrestleMania than this.
Yeah.
So yeah, he just like, this is like, he's just putting his ECW heart out there.
RVD 420. I just
Yeah.
smoked your
I
ass.
wish I had that. I wish
Yeah.
I could buy all those old ECW shirts.
There's a website that recreates them.
Really?
Yeah, the
Yeah.
Sandman one, politically incorrect and damn proud of.
I like that. Fire one up, pop one open, fire one up. Now let's get extreme.
I found a website just so I can get the Jericho Holic shirt and the
Mhm.
Raw is Jericho
Oh,
shirts.
I like that Raw
Yeah.
Jericho shirt.
That's cool. And Rob Van Dam is interrupted, and this is another thing you wouldn't get away with now, because Van Dam definitely wasn't medically cleared, because there was no such thing back then. But even though he's all banged up with his leg, Rhino comes in and gores him.
Yeah.
And stomps his fucking knee in.
Well, I mean, those were working kicks, but he gored him.
There's a few of them that, I mean, listen, a torn ACL is still a torn ACL. They probably
Yeah.
didn't feel good if one or two slip in.
I bet not. And so the crowd is chanting, "You got fired" at Rhino.
Yeah.
So this was about, 3 months after WrestleMania, give or take 3 or 4 months after
Yeah.
WrestleMania weekend. Rhino got in a fight with his wife at the hotel and broke a potted plant and got fired.
Mitch.
Yeah.
Was
Yeah,
it
Mitch the plant,
The
yeah.
plant.
It's the
Mitch
Poor
Senior.
Mitch.
Mitch Senior, and then the other one is El Hijo del Mitch,
Yeah.
not Mitch Junior. So Rhino's getting "You
Oh,
Got
man.
Fired" chants, and then the lights go out, and Joey Styles learned nothing from his years in ECW. Lights go out. Oh, nobody paid the power bill.
Yeah.
No, the lights go out means something else in ECW, and lo and behold, Sabu is
It's usually
there.
always Sabu.
It's usually
Yeah.
Sabu. Yeah, some people have music, and Sabu had music too, but
Sabu.
Yeah, that's a cool spot.
and this is Sabu has a match, and this is the match. He does all the Sabu things.
Mhm.
That's all you need.
Yeah. Van Dam comes back at the end though, and there's a ref bump, and he throws a chair at Rhino. Even though he's hurt, he does a hobbling chair assisted drop kick into the corner. You do the Arabian Skull Crusher because the face busters when it's face up. Skull Crusher is face down through the table. And Sabu gets the win here because Rhino's a big heel. And then they do the point to the air to tribute to the Sheik because Sheik was the original Sheik, Sabu's uncle, was his trainer and Van Dam's trainer. So then backstage we have Al Snow and Head. And apparently Head is the one that invited those SmackDown assholes. Assholes did not get bleeped. Assholes is okay. And then we get our final history package of the night where Beulah gets 3D, and that's how they wrote her off. RVD and Jerry Lynn going at it. Dawn Marie and Miss Congeniality paddling. Miss Congeniality, by the way, Lita.
Yeah, Lita.
Yeah, she was briefly in ECW as Danny Doring's valet. And they paddled Tammy Sitch. The total elimination from Bubba Ray Dudley from Barely Legal is in there. The time they had all the foam heads thrown into the ring, that was on there.
Because they handed out foam heads and you do this one, snow would come out.
Yeah.
And they throw them on the ring.
Is that what they done? They handed them out like nobody brought them.
I mean,
Okay.
some people brought some then after
were
they got
Yeah.
popular.
And then the BWO was there. RVD doing a crazy dive into the crowd. The infamous moment where Bam Bam and Taz go through the ring, and later where they go through the stage in the rematch. Tyler Fullington, Sandman's son, doing the "I'm with Raven." That's in there. RVD and Sabu against Hayabusa and Jinsei Shinzaki is there. Francine getting powerbombed through a table. A lot of women getting beat up on this. Yeah, that's ECW. Rhino was pile driving somebody. I think it might have been Tammy off the apron through a table. I think it was Tammy. You couldn't really tell.
Or maybe it's Francine because I remember you give to Francine much time.
Somebody. Taz choking out 911. That was the end of him. Paulie smashing the phone over somebody's head. That was always his calling card.
Yes.
And then it ends with Sabu and Taz like facing off because that was the big thing. And then the Raw people arrive. Eric Bischoff is the big one here. A few people that we met at PPW and the Pocono Slam Fest.
I wish we would have watched this first because my first question to Maven was like, "What the fuck was up with your shirt?" He was wearing a polo that was like a crop top. His whole midriff was out on it, and it was like he was dressed like.
If women can wear crop tops, why can't men?
But it just looked
bring it back for
the way the shirt was cut. It looked weird.
The bigger problem I have though is that on this show you're ripping off the BWO's gimmick. That's Richardson immediately wearing the crop top.
Yeah, I was like the whole time I'm like, okay, because like you don't notice it when you see him in the back. He has like a normal polo on, and then like later on he stands up. I'm like, what is up with his shirt? Did they give him the wrong size?
And also Snitsky is
Gene
part
Snitsky.
of the part of the group here. But the real heat magnets are Eric Bischoff and Edge.
Yeah.
Because the other thing, this is right after. This is very, very, very close to the whole thing where Matt Hardy and Lita were dating in real life, and it turned out that Edge had an affair with Lita. He was married at the time and had an affair, and Matt Hardy found out about it, and there was a big stink, and Matt Hardy got fired because he wasn't as big a star as Edge.
Yeah.
Happens.
Yeah. And so Edge is just, I didn't realize about it. He's like by far the most over heel in the company.
Yeah.
And they kind of slow burned it. And then at the very beginning of the next year is when he cashes in Money in the Bank. But I mean, obviously it's not a great thing. And it's water under the bridge now. Everybody's fine. Matt has his family. Edge has his family. Lita seems to be doing all right.
Matt's doing great for himself.
Yeah.
There's a reason they have 558 kids.
and Edge and Beth Phoenix have two, but they're any less happy. They seem to be doing all right too.
But that was a big deal at the time.
It was huge.
That was a big deal for anybody who was actually a Hardy Boys fan and a Lita fan, like I was. I was like, you know,
Amy Dumas.
Yeah. Dumas.
So they arrive, and then so our next match is Eddie Guerrero wrestling himself.
Yep.
Eddie Guerrero against nobody.
Who didn't look very happy to wrestle nobody either, or to be there. Looks like he'd rather be.
Well, he was also. This is when he had just turned heel, and his whole gimmick was he was miserable.
Yeah.
But you could tell they were both like. Maybe not a beginning because it was a good.
Did they not have an entrance for him in the?
No, he came out.
I'm trying to think. Like on the recording, did they actually like put his?
Yeah.
Unless they edited it out of the Peacock version.
No, they didn't. They didn't. What they would used to do on the network is when Benoit would have a match, you wouldn't be able to skip to it. It would just be like,
Oh yeah.
or it'd be like Eddie Guerrero in action.
Yeah.
Is what it was. They just
Okay.
they wouldn't like cut out. He had an entrance on here, and so did Eddie. Eddie had his cool like Grand Theft Auto San Andreas.
Yeah, that was
like,
cool. But like
shirt.
they weren't in the ECW that long, so it's kind
Yeah.
of you're just pulling people that you need to fill time.
Yeah. And and Joey Styles tried to put it over in commentary. Like, this is a match we always wanted to have in ECW. We never did. Guerrero like mainly wrestled Dean Malenko.
Yeah, that was it.
And-
he was never very long.
And Benoit was the tag champions with Malenko, and they were part of the original Triple Threat. He was there maybe a little longer than Eddie,
yeah.
but they're mainly known as WCW or WWE.
Yeah.
And so and then I think if they had any interest in this match, they lost it right away, because for the first part of the match, the crowd's just looking up at the people that just came in from Raw, and they're yelling at Edge.
Mhm.
They're yelling, I fucked Lita. And then after that, they're yelling, Lita's got herpes. So wait, you fucked Lita and she has herpes.
You
So
have
did you-
herpes.
Did you give her herpes? Like,
Or at the very least, you have now.
yeah,
you now have herpes. too.
herpes.
My,
And
not
then
a bad trade-off. It's Lita.
I
Yeah,
guess there's
but-
medicine for that. Hey,
Yeah, I don't know.
just-
Can it cure herpes? I don't know.
Yeah.
it's about
Like,
suppression.
honey,
Andy.
I
There used to always be Valtrex commercials.
Yeah.
It's about
if you find the right wrestling girl like fan who's a female, like, you have herpes? Like, yeah, but I got it from Lita. She'd be like, I can live with this
Yeah.
All right.
because you got it from Lita, who also had Matt and Edge. I can live with this life.
Yeah, there's a lot of Eskimo brothers
Yeah.
Yeah.
going on here.
Yeah.
And then
If you're gonna get herpes, get them from famous people. That's what I guess what you were
I
saying.
guess so.
Yeah.
and the fans do eventually get into it for a little bit. There's you screwed Matt chance too,
Mhm.
and
Well, doesn't Paul come out and
That-
heckle him?
yeah,
after.
Oh,
that's,
sorry.
That's like
Getting ahead. Okay.
and so Guerrero had a like cut over the bridge of his nose, so it was probably hard way.
Yeah.
And they had like a house show match. They weren't
They didn't tear it up.
they weren't going for it like they would go for it if it was WrestleMania.
Yeah, they were ECW. Well, they were, but they weren't prime ECW originals. Yeah, they were there, but they weren't RVD and Sabu.
And there's another headlock, but we don't get a boring chant. We get a "fuck you, Bischoff" chant. Because if there was a major antagonist, a major villain of ECW, it's Eric Bischoff.
Mhm.
There was at least a begrudging respect for McMahon. They just hated Bischoff, and they thought he was like a phony and just like a empty suit.
Yeah, it came to Steel
So-
Talent.
Yeah, there was nobody that was more hated than Eric Bischoff in ECW. There's a diving headbutt, which is like, oh, because that's what probably gave him a lot of the concussions.
Yeah.
And even Joey Styles is like, he said he would stop doing that move after he had neck surgery, but he wants to make that sacrifice. Like, oh man, this
Yeah.
is nature. Well,
No.
Yeah.
and this is like a really sad match. Not just 'cause that, but because 6 months after this, Eddie Guerrero's dead too.
Yeah.
So that's pretty just sad. And then Chris Benoit does get the win here with the crossface. And then we're back to the group upstairs, the Crusaders, the WWE Crusaders. Joel Gertner's back, and this time he's begging Eric Bischoff for a job.
Yeah.
He's just being the slimy heel, which is always his role in ECW, so it's perfect, except for when he was like a babyface with Don Callis and Cyrus as a commentator. But people know him as like the smarmy guy with the Dudleys, and
Mhm.
he's begging Bischoff for a job. Bischoff says hell no, throws a beer at him, calls everybody scabs, and that's kind of just heat for the Raw Invader guys. And then our next match, best match of the night, I'm
Mhm.
pretty sure. I know Andy agrees with me. We're talking on the way over here. It's Mike Awesome against Masato Tanaka.
Yeah. Which was a reoccurring match in ECW. They
Yeah.
changed the title and everything.
Because Mike Awesome was there in the very beginning of ECW. He was actually called Awesome Mike Awesome. And so he was there for a little bit, and then he went away for a while. He mainly wrestled in Japan. He was a gladiator over there, wrestled for FMW, which was the garbage promotion.
Mhm.
Just a big guy that would throw around people who were willing to take sick bumps. And so Masato Tanaka was his rival. They came back at the same time. It was when Taz was a champion, and
Mhm.
Taz was leaving. He was ready to go to WWF, and he had to drop the title. So the three-way was Taz, Mike Awesome, Taz, Mike Awesome, and Masato Tanaka. And the way ECW three-ways worked, they mentioned it during the Tajiri match, they would always work where it was elimination. It was never just first fall wins. And that match with Taz as your champion, Taz got pinned in like the first 3 minutes, and it was
Yeah.
just a one-on-one match from there.
Taz has been pinned, so like guarantees a new champion.
Mhm.
And then it's just and then they traded the title back and forth. But the big thing here, especially on commentary, is when Mike Awesome was the ECW champion, he signed with WCW,
Mhm.
and he was going to take the title with him, but there was a legal injunction. and he couldn't show up. He showed up on Nitro while he was still the ECW champion, but they were gonna have him do the thing where he dropped the title in the garbage and everything, like they did with Medusa. But ECW had an injunction to stop him from doing that. And the injunction also made him come back to ECW to drop the title at a non-televised show
to
Taz, who was working for the WWF at the time. So a WWF wrestler beat a WCW wrestler for the ECW title on an ECW show.
I bet the fans loved that.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Did they boo it?
No, they loved that.
They loved it. They respected Taz.
Back.
They respected Taz. He hit it awesome. They probably didn't like Taz quite as much when he went on SmackDown the next night and got squashed by Triple H as the ECW champion.
That was awful.
And then he only came back for one more show at the arena, and Dreamer beat him for the title. And it was the only time that Dreamer had ever won the ECW title. He was except for the bad ECW that came back later. And Dreamer was champion for like 10 minutes because Trust Incredible came in and beat him for the title. So
well, he said he never wanted to win it. He wanted to go the whole time never winning the title.
But this was like the one exception. I think his grandfather just died. It was like a dedication for him.
Yeah.
He's got like paid for his wrestling school. And so he was like, what do you do with the money? It was like, because Dreamer's a bad wrestler.
Yeah.
So Joey Styles is not a fan of Mike Awesome because of the whole thing that happened here. And he makes it well known. Yeah. And even Mick Foley's like, okay, rein it. I don't know if it was in Joey's ear on the headset or like it was just Mick like, rein it back a little, Joey.
Yeah, he almost called him a piece of shit.
Yeah. He's like, I would gladly risk a hospital stay to take a swing at him. And Joey wasn't probably not kidding about that because later on when he worked for WWE,
he knocks out JBL.
Yeah, like JBL was always like the guy who was like a bully. He's a big dude, tough guy. They're over doing that tribute to the troops thing, and Joey Styles like was getting needled by JBL the whole time, and eventually Joey's like, well, fuck this, and cold cocked him and knocked him out.
And he never fucked with him ever again.
I was gonna say, there's only so much you can take.
Little Joey Styles.
He's a goat, baby. Just for that, he's number 3 of all time great commentators. He just landed the 3 spot. Yeah, he was top 5. Yeah, he just moved to 3.
And this might knock him down because one of the early things was Mike Awesome does a suicide dive, and Joey Styles says it's a shame he didn't succeed in taking his own life, which is bad because Mike Awesome did kill himself a year and a half later.
Yeah,
he did commit suicide.
Didn't age well.
No. And this match is nuts, just crazy offense. They're whacking each other with chairs. They're dropping each other on their head.
Power bomb to the outside.
Power bomb to the outside.
Awesome
through tables.
Splash. Mike Awesome was about 6'6", 6'7", and he could springboard to the top and then do a splash off it. Like he was awesome.
He was a freak athlete. The other thing they're making fun of are how much WCW ruined him.
Yeah,
he was the fat chick thriller. He was that 70s guy.
I don't know how you get Mike Awesome and say, let's put a stupid gimmick on.
Yeah,
like, just let him wrestle and kick ass.
I mean, he couldn't really talk either.
No, but give him a manager.
Yeah, give him a manager. And I know Mick Foley was saying like, I maybe he lost it when he lost his 80s hair because he used to have a mullet too.
Yeah,
the big like Yarmer Yager hockey mullet. And then he cut it when he was in WCW.
I asked Mercedes Martinez, would it be funny if I cut a mullet eventually? Because there was a few kids walking around with mullets at BPW, and she goes, I don't see it.
No.
So she said no. It's
no.
What if it's that Guerrero mullet though? He had a great one.
I told her, what if I just do what Morrison did and I make it look like a mullet and I just greased like.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That might be.
What did she say to that? No.
She still said no.
No. What does Heidi say to that?
I mean, at this point, it's what Mercedes says.
Oh.
I don't see Heidi with an AEW contract fighting.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it don't matter what Heidi or maybe.
No, Heidi's not a fan of the mullet either.
I'd say no too.
Yeah.
So this was pre the this is awesome chant. Like that wasn't a thing yet, but you did get a this match rules chant.
Yeah.
During this.
This match rules.
That is the sign of that time.
It was really good. I was like, man, they gotta sign Mike Awesome, and they didn't.
No.
I was like, what?
And Mike Awesome does get the win here. He does an awesome bomb through the table, out from the ring to the outside through a table, and then he does the awesome splash. And he catches his knees on the ropes and he just goes down head first.
Yeah.
And he was a little dazed. And for some reason, after he wins, he beats up Jim Mullen, the referee. Yeah. I don't know why. So that was the next to last match. And then they play the ECW theme, and they go to the entrance. They go to the entrance, and it's Bob Artiste. Like, okay, cool. Bob Artiste is here. I think they cut a little too quickly because Bob Artiste just kind of awkwardly walks to the ring.
Not me, guys.
And then Paul Heyman comes out.
Yeah, Paulie with his
the evil mad scientist mastermind
his duster
genius
and his baseball hat
with his headset on.
That's good guy Paulie when he has the baseball hat on.
Yeah,
he has the big leather trench coat and the baseball hat. That's babyface Paul Heyman, and he comes out, and the crowd, their god has shown up. So
yeah,
so this is as big as it gets. And he is just as emotional as Joey Styles was, if not more. His eyes are red. He's
Mick Foley pulled an Andy Header here. He's like, why is everyone crying? Stop
It
crying.
was awesome.
Yeah.
All he's here.
even Andy can understand why people are crying.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Even stone-hearted Andy.
the crowds cry. Everybody's emotional here. And Paul Heyman clarifies, though, I'm not crying. I was in the back smoking a joint with Van Dam, and my eyes are a little red.
Yeah.
He does his thank yous. He thanks Todd Gordon, who started ECW and sold it to Paulie along the way. He did point out the two production guys in the crowd, Ron Buffone and Charlie Brzezzi, were the people who always put the TV show together.
That's awesome. I mean, as someone who has done production on shows and it's a long day if you're a talent, right? Obviously, you're there all day long. You're just kind of waiting, but being production on anything, even if you're like not acting in a play, or you're not the one behind the camera who gets the most of the limelight and the glory. If you do production on anything, wrestling, anything, it's a long fucking day and you work your balls off.
Yeah.
So the fact that Paul Heyman calls out two guys who paid a lot of dues, who probably didn't get a lot of recognition,
They were in the video game.
Yeah.
They would have, like, on your career mode, you had to go through jobbers, and they were in the video game.
Well, that's dope. That's dope, because like I said, a lot of times people like that get pushed under the rug. So when promotions take time out to thank people like that, that is super dope, because it's a long day being production, man. It's a selfless job, and you are killing yourself. Yeah.
So then he does turn his attention to the
Raw and SmackDown guys.
what do they call the Crusaders? Yeah, the Raw and SmackDown guys, and obviously this is all stuff that got cleared, and but he goes after Bischoff, and he's like, I'm not showing up tail between my legs to a WCW one night stand.
Yeah.
Like, nobody really cares that WCW is dead. And they did. There's never there's a small clamor for WCW, but they didn't have the rabid fan base that ECW did. And then he goes to Edge, and he's like, "Hide your wives," it's Edge.
No, I got three. I got two words for you, but he says three.
Yeah, he goes, "I have 2 words for you, Matt freaking Hardy."
Yeah.
And even Edge is like, "That's 3."
Yeah.
Well, he says that's 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was throwing the version.
He did that later. Yeah.
Well, the Shocker was not out yet.
Yeah, well, he was doing the version,
it was out.
the Matt Hardy
Version 1, yeah.
version 1 thing. Where
Yeah.
it's like, that's 3. That's 3. And I was like, oh, that's even fucking
That's worse.
more savage.
Yeah.
I think at this point the deal was almost done, though, to bring Matt in. It was getting close to the point where the deal was
You
done.
have to sell at that point, because that's what you're pushing.
I think it wasn't that long after this. This was June. It would have been July, where they did the thing where Matt attacked Edge, and they were pulling him out, and he plugged Ring of Honor. He talked about how it was going to be the Ring of Honor show
they
that
had,
weekend.
Like 2 Ring of Honor matches.
Yeah, so it wasn't as raw as it would have been later.
Yeah.
And then he goes to JBL and JBL's talking about bouncing checks and bingo halls. He's like, the only reason you were the WWE champion for a year was because Triple H didn't want to work Tuesday.
Yeah.
And JBL's writing fake checks and throwing them.
Yeah.
And watching them bounce.
It's funny. But it's not just that. It's because Shawn Michaels didn't want to work Tuesdays either.
Yeah.
Really. That was true. Like, Shawn Michaels, they wanted him to go to SmackDown at one point, and he was like, no.
He
had some kind of church thing.
Yeah.
He did on Tuesdays.
He has one of my best highlights.
I gotta go to church.
Yeah, he has one of my best highlights of SmackDown. That's when he hits Shelton Benjamin with that insane springboard super kick. That was a SmackDown.
No, that was Raw. No, I'm pretty sure that was Raw.
Yeah, because Shawn Michaels was on Raw.
I thought he did one SmackDown appearance or early, and I thought it was a SmackDown
one
show.
of them was a Battle Royal.
Yeah, I don't know.
I thought he hit Shelton with that super kick on SmackDown.
I'm pretty sure that was a Raw.
Yeah,
almost positive that was a Raw.
I could be
because when
wrong.
he came back,
you guys know more than
he was
I do.
just Raw.
Yeah, and it was mainly because he had this other thing he did on Tuesdays.
Yeah, he might have went to SmackDown when he was doing the feud with Hogan, just to do a promo.
Yeah, he may have done like one-offs, but it was. I'm pretty sure it was a Shelton match. Yeah,
it was Raw. Yeah, you're right. I'm an idiot.
So then we have the big finish here, because Paul Heyman just yells. He does another EC fucking W. He's another guy that gets bleeped here. There's gonna be one more F-bomb later that gets bleeped too. So our main event for the evening is Tommy Dreamer and the Sandman against the Dudley Boys. The Dudley Boys have been kind of off TV for a while. They were the only person in this match the main match that wasn't signed was Sandman. Dreamer had been in WWE for a while. The Dudleys have been there for a while, but they had been off TV since the end of 2004. And not long after the show, they got fired.
Yeah,
it was like right after the show they got fired. Because they were Team 3D and TNA like a few months later. And so they're about to face off. And this is the big difference between even the DVD version, let alone Peacock, and the actual pay-per-view. just that night.
Yeah.
And if you taped it that night and you had a VHS of it,
Down.
Enter Sandman, where they really played it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They really played Enter Sandman for the Sandman. Like,
Some of the songs were
Generic ripoffs.
very
Yeah.
close
Like Tommy
parody.
Dreamer's like down.
he had a good- at one point he had a good ripoff in WWE. too.
Yeah.
Later on, there's a AC/DC ripoff that's very, very close.
Yeah.
Then there was another
They
one.
do play Taz's ECW music, War Machine though.
Yeah, but the knockoff
Yeah,
War
yeah, the
Machine.
knockoff War Machine.
There was did the
They
Dudley-
played Sabu's ECW music
Yeah.
too. Now,
someone else had a very close parody where you're like, oh, they're
Yeah,
trying to play this. I just forget what
Mike
it was.
Awesome
now.
had his WCW or his
ECW theme.
Yeah.
Sabu had his, the Harry Slash thing. I think the Dudleys came out to their WWE music.
They did.
Yeah,
They
because
didn't
they
come out
never
the
had
high-
music.
They did when they were like goofy, when they're
Yeah.
comedy. They did Highway to Hell.
Maybe was it the?
It was
Spike?
Axel. It was Axel Rotten and Balls Mahoney. It was
Yeah,
it was
There was
the
another
big
one
balls.
besides them that was very, very
The
close.
Sandman one wasn't awful in the beginning because the opening line is very close to Enter Sandman,
Yeah.
but then it just loops and there's no lyrics.
Yeah, it
And I'm like, yeah, okay, well, it was cool for a second.
was a cool moment. It's one of
But-
my favorite Sandman entrances because he
Mhm.
just goes crazy.
Oh, he's
Drinks beers.
that was
yeah.
his entrance all the time.
I mean,
Yeah.
just like doing it in the Hammerstein at that with that
Well,
crowd.
no, the only difference between that and the normal Sandman is it wasn't smoking.
Yeah,
Oh,
okay,
yeah.
that's right. Yeah.
And so, yeah, he's pouring from the balcony. He's pouring beer into somebody's mouth.
Could have been 17.
Yeah.
Could have been 12.
Don't matter.
It's fucking
It's
ECW.
ECW. It's ECW. And then this is the typical overbooked ECW main event.
Mhm.
The BWO runs in.
Holy fuck! Oh, this is booked, overbooked.
This is what ECW
Yeah.
was. And they help the Dudleys. You can't have an invasion. They're looking at the invaders up there. You can't have an invasion without the BWO.
Yeah.
And Joey Styles is just mocking Bischoff. He's like, "We made so much money on this, and they couldn't do anything because it's parody." It's just like making fun of that. And they help the Dudleys out. And another line that they had while this was happening is Axel Rotten and Balls Mahoney come out. I think that was the other thing you're talking about because Balls Mahoney came out to Big Balls by AC/DC, and they had a pretty decent knockoff, which I think they wound up using in ECW for a while.
Yeah.
The only thing with this show is, I'll wait till we get there. Go ahead.
And they came out to even the odds, and they just crush Nova with a chair.
Yeah.
And Joey Styles says that's more painful than having to be Simon Dean on national
Yeah, that
TV.
was great. Who was a workout gimmick that Nova had on Raw.
Yeah.
and it
Yeah, he had the
was-
Simon system.
Yeah, that was not good.
Yeah, he was basically like it was DDP before DDP.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
And the name Simon Dean was a rib on Dean Malenko because his name is Dean Simon.
Yeah.
Oh,
So I just flipped it around. Cash does a wild dive. He comes out too. They call him the total nonstop athlete because there's a TNA regular before this.
Yeah.
This might have been the point. He was in WWE for a second with Jamie Noble.
Yeah.
And they called them the Pitbulls.
Yeah. I remember that. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
weird.
It was when Brian Kendrick and Paul London had that year-long tag title run on SmackDown. And that was one of the teams they wrestled. And they're doing this wild brawl. And people start chanting for New Jack, but New Jack's not coming.
Yeah.
There's a few,
That was the setup. Anytime there was a wild brawl,
you're just waiting for Natural Born Killers
Yeah,
to hit. And
they would play that music. New Jack come out with a bunch of weapons and go nuts.
Matt Hardy got another chant later on in the night.
it might have been when all the WWE
Yeah.
guys
Yeah.
came in the ring. But yeah, they're chanting for New Jack. Dreamer's just gushing blood.
Yeah.
He's got a giant blade job going on. The Impact players run in, and they do Just Incredible. I think Eric Landstorm had barbed wire, and they do the Tombstone. That's incredible. Just Incredible's
Mhm.
finish on the barbed wire. Francine runs in, and they always did a thing where Francine hated Tommy Dreamer because I guess he blew her off or something like that for Beulah. So Francine runs in to beat up on Tommy Dreamer. Beulah comes in. We have the cat fight, as you would always have.
But this was the blow off of ECW. Like we
Yeah.
all thought there was never going to be more. So this
'cause
is it. That's all. go all out.
Beulah left pretty early on. They did that 3D in like '98, and she wasn't around for like the last 3
Yeah.
years because she was
Yeah.
going to go out and they were starting a family. So she was like, I'm going to go home and be a mom. But for this and for the one the next year, Beulah was involved a lot. And as a matter of fact, the Impact players grab her and like Landstorm's holding her back while Just Incredible goes to hit Beulah, but she gets out and then they hit each other. And then Tommy Dreamer and Beulah do a double DDT on the Dudleys.
Well, they
It's a good
hug,
count.
and she
Yeah.
pulls away from the hug, and she's just
Bloody yeah, blood.
covered
Yeah.
in blood.
I mean, that's not the first time that's happened here. Look up Beulah versus Bill Alfonso.
Yeah.
You want to see somebody bleed.
Yeah.
Bill Alfonso
like
had to save
crazy.
his job that night, and he did.
His blood tribe.
He is a bloody mess in that show. he made Tommy Dreamer look like he like cut himself shaving.
It's on the
Oh.
wildest. What's it called? Bloody Sprawls ECW DVD.
Really?
I have all the ECW DVDs that they produced. So
Mm.
there's like
It's a
5
crazy
of
one.
them.
Yeah.
And
This main event just turns into a circus.
and they're chanting for tables, and you get your tables. Powerbomb through a table on Sandman for 2, and then Spike Dudley comes
Yeah.
in. There's your final run in. Spike Dudley.
He might have had knockoff Highway to Hell music because that was
He
his
may have, yeah.
I think that's what it was.
And so he comes in, and he has lighter fluid. And Brandy Rhodes might have watched this to learn how to light up a table because they put a lot of lighter fluid in that thing. They're like, I'm like, okay, you can stop now, Bubba. And they're like, no, he's still going. He's still going for a while. And so they light the table on fire, power bomb through the flaming table on Tommy Dreamer. He was fine.
Yeah.
Well,
He had a
okay,
shirt
fine.
on.
He had a shirt on, yeah. And then so that's the end of the match. 1, 2, 3. And then Sandman makes a save at the end because they're going to go after Beulah again. They're going to give her the 3D.
Someone get me a beer.
He's like over Tommy
Someone
Dreamer.
get me a beer.
Tommy Dreamer's just been driven through a flaming table. What can fix this? I need a beer.
Yeah.
Who could possibly get the Sandman a beer? Well, the glass breaks, and here
Yeah.
comes Steve Austin.
And the
and his-
place goes fucking
Yeah.
bananas.
Even though Steve Austin wasn't that much of ECW.
and he was a heel.
Yeah.
And he wasn't Stone Cold yet. And his whole gimmick was, I'm better than this.
Yeah. But it was Steve Austin.
Yeah.
It's Steve Austin.
and he's wearing
An XFL
an
jersey.
XFL jersey.
The Las Vegas Outlaws.
I wish I had an XFL jersey.
Well, it came back.
Yeah.
This
How
is,
long is XFL out when this?
4 years.
So
It was
it's like he
2000
just wore all
Well, you
four.
saw how weathered it was too. It was like the one was wearing out. Like that thing had
He
put some
used
use
it.
in.
I would really love
I have a
to find out why he chose that jersey that night.
I guess because they're outlaws.
Yeah.
There's ECW. Goddamn, we're outlaws, pal.
Do
you think it was that-
That'd be fun if I wore an XFL jersey. Would that be something?
Goddamn.
Just show Vince he made another
Yeah.
mistake by not booking this ECW show sooner. I'll wear his XFL jersey.
And Austin's basically like to the people up in the balcony, like, you talked a lot of shit. You better come down here and back it up. And they don't want to do it. So like, if you don't do it, I'm gonna have this beer. I'm gonna count down from 10. And if you don't come down here, I'm gonna come up there and like slap the taste out of all your mouths.
Is he still wrestling at this time?
No.
No.
He's done.
He was he the sheriff at this point, or was that
Yeah,
after
when he
that?
come out in the quad. And he
Yeah,
was driving around.
Because he stayed outside
Yeah.
the ring.
Yeah.
Yeah, his last match was in 2002.
Yeah.
Okay.
With The Rock.
Yeah, I stopped. Honestly, I think I stopped watching wrestling when I took my break. Is when Sean left at Mania after he got knocked out by Austin.
Well, that would have been.
That would have been 97.
Yeah,
90.
because like
So you didn't watch it?
You didn't watch the Attitude Era?
Yeah.
no,
No.
I watched Attitude Era. When I stopped mid. So I graduated 2005.
You probably
I
stopped like 2005, 2006.
I'm gonna say 2000, 2001,
Because Sean came back in
2002.
2000. Like, he came back
I-
a
I
hot
didn't
minute.
see his second run.
I still watch
You didn't
that.
see any of it.
When did the ruthless aggression start? Like
2004.
2000.
2003.
Yeah.
I was out around then. So because WrestleMania 2000 I watched, and I think 2002 2003 is when I bailed.
It was really good.
Yeah, I bailed around that time.
It got bad for the PG era. Like
Yeah.
John Cena.
Yeah.
That's when I didn't see John's debut. I didn't see Sean's second run.
Ruthless aggression.
Yeah, I didn't see Ruthless aggression. I seen Vince beat the Monday Night Wars. I seen Shane on WCW.
Yeah.
That was 2001.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So 2000, I would say 2000, because
Wow.
2001 we lost our house fire, and then I didn't watch TV then because we were
Oh, yeah,
between
yeah.
houses and we were living with people trying to get a house, and then we got a house, and cable TV wasn't a priority. And then at that time is when I really fell in love with. That's when Tito fought Ken Shamrock for the
Mhm.
first time. That was like 2003, 2004.
Somewhere around there, yeah.
And that's when I was like, oh, fucking this mixed martial arts is my jam.
Yeah.
And I just completely switched over. Yeah.
So eventually Austin talks the WWE guys from come down in the ring. And yeah, the ECW guys on one side, there's a lot more of them, and they have a big crowd of WWE guys.
Even with the numbers game, holy fucko. When the WWE guys come down,
Yeah.
they're monsters.
Yeah.
And these ECW guys are like Balls Mahoney.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you're just like, you have no fucking
But yeah,
shit.
Kurt Angle, if it was a real fight, Kurt Angle would probably take it out like 10 of them.
Yeah.
10 of them. So-
I did like the fact that Kurt Angle was the first one in the ring. Like, I thought that was a
Yeah.
cool move to be like, let's go.
Well, because there's one guy, well, besides a few guys that weren't on the show, Shane Douglas, New Jack, that was a big part of ECW's history that people knew worked for WWE and was going to be there at some point. And the one guy that doesn't go to the ring is Eric Bischoff. He goes on commentary to needle Joey Styles, who is just yelling at him, "You were the worst play-by-play man ever."
Did Joey Styles do commentary the night of the shows live, or was it something he would record secondary? Like,
maybe some of the house for the TV shows, but usually he was always there. If it was
he was always there. He would do the in-ring like opening the show.
Funny thing is when
I'm saying during the show.
This show or just ECW in general?
So when ECW went live on pay-per-view, were they live on pay-per-view?
Yes, live on
okay. Because I know their big thing was a lot of the stuff they would tape and then they would go and have Joey Styles recording the thing in the basement and add it in post-production.
There was like backstage stuff.
Yeah.
Or like weekly shows.
Yeah.
Not all of them.
That would be like for PPW if Tom Mitchell was also an announcer and he announced the show and then they did tapings afterwards.
Yeah, that's why I was asking if commentary was done in post or if he did it on show.
He was there live and they had a commentary set up, so I'm assuming he did most of it live.
Yeah.
Funny thing is when Bischoff was going to bring back WCW and bring it back, Joey Styles was going to be his commentator.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, he said he was the worst color commentator of all time.
Wow.
Joey Styles said to Eric Bischoff.
Eric Bischoff was a pretty bad announcer.
Yeah.
He'll be the first to admit it. And so the big thing they're chanting for now is Taz.
Yeah, because Taz didn't show up yet.
Yeah.
And Paulie said it was a big thing that they let Taz come out after Steve Austin. Because Steve Austin, big star in WWE. Even though he
the face off here is you want Taz and Kurt to face off.
Yes, you do.
Yeah.
And that's what you got.
Yep.
And they brawl and Kurt gets the better of him a little bit and knocks him out of the ring. But then they they fight to the outside. They're just brawling in the ring. Kurt gets the better of him a little bit and tries to go back in the ring. Rhino knocks him off the apron, back into Taz. Taz mission chokes him out. He's done. While this is happening, in the ring, JBL is beating the ever-loving piss out of the Blue Meanie for real. For real.
One of the corners. I think it's the left one. Like
it's the back right from
back
camera.
Right. Okay.
He is. And Blue Meanie at this point in time, I guess at a different show, I could be wrong. At a different show, he was busted open the hard way. So he had staples.
I think it was the night before this was Hardcore Homecoming at the arena. I think it was there.
Yes. Yeah. And he had staples in his head. So that's why he opened up so quickly, is because he was like, he wasn't expecting to get the shit kicked out of him for no reason.
Yeah.
Yes. And that's why he opened up so much and so quickly, because he reopened the staples that were already in his head. Yeah. I could be wrong, but I believe that's what he said in an interview. Because even doing shoot interviews on this, he was always super he was like, oh man,
he's a real nice guy.
He's a fucking sweetheart. He's one of the coolest people. And he also has a podcast. So go check out his podcast, the Blue Meanie podcast, if you're listening to us.
So why did JBL do it? Did we?
Because JBL was a dickhead.
He's just a dick.
Blue Meanie feels that the reason it kind of happened maybe is because there was some moments
that I was an Acolyte fan then.
Yeah, there was a few. JBL is kind of been notoriously known for being a bully backstage. Actually, JBL has a podcast with Gerald Briscoe.
Yeah.
JBL probably thought he was better. Like, why do I have to do this?
Yeah, that and Blue Meanie said he had some interactions with JBL where he thought maybe it could stem from where he was just given a plane ticket and told to get on the plane.
Yeah,
and when he got on the plane, he realized it was a first class ticket. And a few people who were in coach were like, why the fuck is the Blue Meanie in first class?
JBL was one of those guys where he felt like it was his job to be like one of the locker room policemen.
Yeah.
Like they would do this thing called like wrestler's court, where if you did something wrong, you would be in wrestler, and the Undertaker was a judge. And
really?
Yeah. And JBL was usually the prosecutor.
Yeah.
Yeah. JBL was usually like the prosecutor for
usually, and then you have to buy someone a case of beer.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the reason was, don't do what you did again.
Yeah. If me and Andy had heat and it carried over and it caused problems, you had wrestler court and they're like, fucking squash it, buy him a case of beer, and we don't want to fucking see it again.
Yeah.
Okay.
And if it has to go to beyond wrestlers court, you're probably gonna get your fucking teeth kicked in.
It's a throwback to a time when wrestling was a lot more fraternal and a lot more like a closed society than it is.
Carney.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Hardcore Homecoming, I guess it was a Friday. It was the June 10th, and I think One Night Stand was June 12th.
Yeah.
Meanie did wrestle on that show. Just to run down that card real quick, you had Chris Chetty and Mikey Whipwreck beating C.W. Anderson and Simon Diamond.
Now I'm thirsty. Thanks a lot for saying Chetty.
Tracy Smothers beat the Blue Meanie. Tracy Smothers was on the show in the crowd with the FBI. You had Too Cold Scorpio not at the show beating Kid Cash. Bad Breed, Axel Rotten, who was there, Ian Rotten, who was not, beat Cronus and New Jack.
Yeah, the Gangstanators.
Yeah. So that's how I was like looking at like, oh, Cronus was alive at this point. Okay. Jerry Lynn beat Justin Credible. Credible was at the show. Jerry Lynn was not. He was working for TNA at the time.
Yeah.
So he couldn't be there. Raven, also working for TNA, not on the show, with the Blue Meanie and the Musketeer. Remember the Musketeer? Beat the Sandman. And your main event was they ran back one of the more famous matches in ECW. Had Sabu beating Shane Douglas, also not on the show because they had heat. And Terry Funk, also not on the show. I don't know why.
Yeah.
In a barbed wire match with Cactus Jack as the referee. So Foley was on both shows. But yeah, Shane Douglas, I guess he always had a bad
I forget who
relationship
does,
with WWE.
Someone does comment. It's not Joey Styles.
I know Borash was there. I don't know if he did commentary.
I forget. I know the second hardcore homecoming has no commentary.
This hardcore homecoming was Joey Styles.
Oh, okay. Was okay. The second one has no commentary, but the Dudley Boys are in the main event because they got fired.
Yeah, and I think there was something with basically Shane Douglas put these shows on because I guess he wasn't a part of the main show, so we just did his own. He's like, I'll do my own. The second one at the arena, the commentary was Eric Gargiulo, who was CZW's main commentator for a while, and Buck Woodward, who did the stuff with like One Wrestling.
Oh wow!
So and they did some other shows not at the arena. It was like Pittsburgh because Douglas was from, and then the other thing here. Let's see.
JBL did get his
he did they actually put it into a storyline on TV then where JBL
the BWO shows up. So I mean he got some money, he got booked a few times.
And I think he
and then Stevie Richards fucking I wonder if it was the wrestler's court verdict is that you have to go out and take a steel chair shot.
That wasn't wrestler's court, that was Vince court.
I think he knew.
And fucking Stevie Richards,
they probably said he's gonna hit you with the chair and he's gonna hit you.
He tattooed JBL like he was trying to take his life. And when he hit him with the folded chair. But when he hit him like his head hit here. So he got the backrest and the chair
and the
part.
lip. Yeah.
Well, it was the flat part.
Oh, okay.
It was the flat part, but he hit him with the top with the backrest too. Like he didn't hit him square with the seat.
Yeah.
He hit him high, and because when JBL gets hit, his head goes through the chair. Yeah. And Stevie Richards swung that like he was going for a home run record.
Good for him.
Especially
I used to like JBL. I mean, I did like JBL, so knowing that kind of stuff.
He seems to have cooled off a little bit.
But yeah, he got it.
I didn't like him as a commentator though. I thought he stank as a commentator.
Anything else with the show here, so we can wrap up or get a little long?
He was more of Vince's sock puppet on commentary. I mean, this is pretty much the end of the show. ECW clears the ring. It seemed like a few of those people were going after Bradshaw too, because it was all people who didn't really work for WWE. It was like the FBI was over there, Axl Rotten was over there, and the Dudleys are trying to pull JBL out.
Yeah.
And so he gets out of there. Austin like, oh, you got your asses whipped. And then there's one guy who didn't get caught up in all this. So Austin instructs Mick Foley to grab Eric Bischoff by the nape of the neck and bring that son of a bitch to the ring. And he takes a 3D. He takes a diving headbutt. He takes moves from all the guys who work for WWE because they know they're going to be safe.
Yeah.
He takes the 619, and he's like, and Austin comes over to do like the I'm going to do a post-game interview. And he's like, Eric Bischoff, how do you feel? And he put the mic down. And he's like, fuck ECW. And so Austin gives him the stunner. They throw him out of the ring, and the Dudleys unceremoniously dump him on some flatbed truck. And then everybody just drinks beer. And Sandman is very, very drunk.
Before we wrap here,
here,
what years were ECW on the TNT network?
TNN. It was probably 99 to
TNN. Sorry,
to the end. No, they were off before then. 2000.
It was about a year. It was 99 to 2000. And then they announced they were bringing Raw over, and they canceled ECW.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was 8 of Friday nights at 8.
Yeah, it was ECW Wrestling and Roller Jam.
Yeah, Roller Jam.
Yeah. All right.
On the Nashville Network.
Well, what do you got to plug, Andy? And what shirt are you wearing?
I have a Dean Ambrose shirt on.
From celebrate his sobriety.
Yeah, it's the old
the sober guy
parental lyrics thing. There could be a spoof on that. The only shirt.
His original mock shirt when he was on the Indies was like that.
Yeah.
It was like the
parental advisor.
Yeah, the parental
advisor. I think ECW had a shirt like that too.
I think they did. Yeah, a lot of people did and stuff. It's just a cool shirt. Got it at Hershey at a house show. The only shows I got coming up that I know of is Backbreakers. So there we go.
Well, we're gonna be there podcasting.
Yeah,
we'll be there podcasting.
Outbreaks in March. There's something in February. PPW the 12th. There's something else in February, but I forget.
Yeah,
that's all. While I was off it. There's not many shows right now. Then on the winter, there's not
a lot of shows getting canceled due to the pandemic, the COVID. So be careful out there. Brian.
ProjectHumanoid.com. We talked about Murder My Dude earlier. No new episode this week. It is every other week now because it takes a lot to prep. Cheesesteak Suplex, I believe, is coming back soon.
Oh.
I think
Question
she
mark?
says. Some things up in the air, but we'll be doing some stuff soon. I know what we're doing for the next Murder My Dude. It won't be out tomorrow, but the Friday after. We are right in the heart of the NFL playoffs. We're talking about some famous murders in the world of football.
Look out!
That'll be our next episode.
You know who that is?
I don't
No.
even know who that is.
OJ.
Oh. We already did OJ.
Ah.
So some of the not that famous murders in football. We already did that OJ episode. way back
Alleged.
when.
Yeah.
Alleged, yeah.
Well, no, somebody got murdered there. He was liable for it. He was
Yes.
not guilty, but he was liable. We're not talking about OJ. We're going to be
The
talking
glove
about.
didn't fit, Brian.
That's why they acquitted. So yeah, ProjectHumanoid.com. You can find everything we're doing there, and that's what I got.
Kelly.
I'm wearing a best friend shirt from Pro Wrestling Tees.
With all 5 of them.
I'm
Yes.
jealous because
Yes.
that's the
And it has the skeletons on the back. It's double sided.
that's the Wheeler
But-
Yuta.
Yep,
Yeah.
it has the Yuta on it.
I already
Has Yuta
brought
on
up
it.
Cactus Jack here, but
Yeah.
I forgot.
That's
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, so I'm wearing best friends. I do love the shirt. I love the print, but I'll tell you what, people do not buy the extra soft. It's the extra $3.99 for the extra soft.
It doesn't feel any different.
No, and this is washed and dried with like a dryer sheet and stuff, trying to get it to get soft. No, like I'm gonna have to try and figure out like a brine wash or something.
Maybe they just in production kind of like
screwed it up.
They didn't grab the right
the
shirt.
tag said extra soft on it, like the
They do the
sticker
same.
tag.
My extra cheese, they're like extra cheese. So it's like extra soft. Get
It's
a regular one,
I
please.
want an extra soft.
It's like that thing from The Simpsons where it's like Duff Light, and Duff Dry, and it's all
Well,
like one
the
tap.
same
that's supposed to
thing,
be-
yeah.
during the podcast, I got my email that my Chris Statlander, Bloody Brick Breaker, and Jericho just shipped.
Oh,
but
wow. Chris Statlander shipped already.
Yep.
Wow.
and the Best Friends series is available now on Ringside Collectibles. So if you want to get the Best Friends, Chuck, Trent, and Chris, they're all on Pro Wrestling Tees. And the pre-orders for the Dark Order are up
Oh,
now.
wow. I want to get the Chris Statlander.
And your boy's broke,
so
so,
hard
I
to
have
get
to
in
hopefully
stores.
nothing is sold out by Friday because it's the only time I can order it. But I need me some Brody Lee, and it's hurting my heart that if it's gone by Friday, I'm going to cry.
That Kronos thing is still happening, so I don't have money. to
Yeah.
spend either.
Oh my goodness.
Hopefully
horrible.
the money situation changes.
I know.
So-
I had to drop a lot of money last week on oil and this week on a vet bill, so I got nothing.
yeah, I have a vet bill coming
Oh,
up
you just
for a
reminded
dog
me
and
I
a
have to
cat.
come
so.
get you tomorrow.
Yes, you do.
Yeah, thank you. Anything else we plug?
Truth Behind the Illusion on Tuesday. We're doing Cursed and Cursed or Haunted movie sets. So that'll be 7 p.m. on Tuesday.
Do you have any cursed hot or movie sets that come to your mind?
I think we did a Who Died the Worst once on a different movie cast. So Poltergeist is the big one. Ben-Hur.
Eventually,
That's my big one. I'm gonna
yeah,
talk about.
everyone who was on that movie eventually died, and
Well, everybody's going to eventually die at some point.
it's
Yeah,
it's
but
cursed.
It's me and you are gonna have it out on this one.
Everyone that was in Citizen Kane died.
Yeah,
Not yet.
cursed movie.
Everybody that was in the original production of Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet is now dead.
Shakespeare's dead.
Shakespeare also dead.
That's if he even allegedly existed.
Yeah.
Everyone in the Civil War died.
Do you ever hear that theory
Oh, yeah.
that Shakespeare didn't
I
exist?
absolutely have.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, he actually
I may
did
have- I-
exist.
we may have,
He's a vampire. He's a time traveler, and then him and his wife never died, and now they're Anne Hathaway and his
I
wife
may
are
have
William
written a whole
Shakespeare.
piece on that for a podcast and never did.
Really?
Yeah.
I would have liked to hear that. That's a good topic.
Did we do that on Pedantic once?
No, I
You
think it
can
was talked
roll that
about. But I
right
don't-
over to Truth Behind the Illusion with us,
Yeah.
Brian, one day.
Yeah, come hang out with us.
Come hang out.
The only reason he's never been on Truth is Brian doesn't want to work Tuesday.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to
He
work on
doesn't want to work
Tuesdays.
Tuesday.
He's already working on
Yeah,
Tuesdays.
I'm already working on Tuesdays.
Nikolai from Not Cool in High School will be joining us. If you check out the latest Not Cool in High School, we just did Betty White, which is a fun episode.
Next time we're going to do Barry White.
Yep.
Her brother.
I don't
Well,
think
then
we have
after that, we're gonna do Vanna White.
There we go. And it's going to keep going.
Just keep going.
we can't do too many whites.
and then
That's-
Jay White on
people-
this show.
people-
And then the White Stripes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many whites do you think we could do before it gets questionable?
Maybe about 4.
Yeah.
We could do on this show. We could also do Kerwin White.
Yeah, Kerwin White.
Yeah. So and then this Sunday we'll be on Banging Bears Podcast live. Guest coming.
I was like, we can't help you with
Yeah,
that
guest. I think I have to reach out before the end of the week and make sure he's still coming.
Oh,
Is that
Trogs, are you going?
no?
Spuds McKenzie.
Our guest might
God,
be
I
Tim
love
Myers from
Spuds.
Hotheads
If you're
Hot
getting-
Sauce.
If you're getting
nice.
Spuds, I'm going to see Spuds.
Yeah, and then Saturday we'll be on location if you want to come hang out with us at the Little Brown Barrel in Minersville. T-shirt I'm wearing today is a Front Row Material, Jerry Lynn and Mike Whitbreck's podcast. I don't think they still do it. I think it's run by different people now, but it's
Yeah.
still a great podcast.
we've run into them at PPW quite a bit.
I don't know the full cast. Sorry, I
I believe
support
it's Freeland. I believe I don't know his first name. Freeland, I believe.
Yeah, but they support us. They're always at PPW, so go support the Front Row Material. You've been on it.
Yes.
Yeah, you were on it once, so go show them some love. If you're just wrapping up with us, if you head over to Breakfast and Body Slams or Body Slams podcast, they are live right now. They're about 5 minutes in. That's pretty much all I got. Thank you guys so much for supporting
Chio's show, right?
Chio Show. Yeah, thank you so much for supporting Tornado Tech Podcast. Like I said, if you made it this far, leave a review on Apple, iTunes, whatever it is, Spotify. You can do a 5-star on there. Check out our merch pages, and if you want, sign up for that Patreon. We'll give you a shout out for free on there as well. What do we got here right at the end? Hey, fellas, is this a review for the 05 show? It was the review for the 05 show. We're about to wrap up, so you can check the replay out on Facebook right after we hit the end stream button. Yeah, but yeah, we did a great job. I hope we did a good job. I'm giving us away maybe too much compliments.
The best job.
We killed it, bro. We nailed it.
But it's so good. You just take our word for it. You don't have to listen to it.
Yeah, just hit the like button and move on. Yeah. But we love you guys. We'll see you next time. Tornado Tech Podcast. We're out of here. See you soon.
Oh my
Bye.
God.